It gives credible sources that can be authenticated, to
Okay, so really
substantiate
quick, just to make
whatever.
sure, just to make sure. And by the way, I guess your name is Muslim. Is that how you want me to refer to
Go
you?
ahead.
Or
That's fine. Yes,
okay,
that's fine.
all right. So Muslim. I'm glad that you requested up. But what you're saying is that there's a particular surah that gives credible evidence for Mary and Jesus in this surah
No,
named Mary in the Quran. Is that what you're saying?
no. What I'm saying is, in that surah, the description is so vivid, and then the reader can do their research upon how that chapter was written. Can it be verified? Can it be documented? And there are
So how did
historical
you?
sources.
Right. So what historical sources is it referring to? Like what citations
Well,
does it
see,
give?
well, it gives you names of individuals who had walked with the prophets, and the words of
Walked
the
with who?
prophets stated.
Like
Walked
who?
with Prophet Muhammad,
Oh well, that
and
doesn't get us any
have
closer to the first century. I'm talking about like who does it cite from the first century who would have known Mary? Like
well,
How would
I'm just
Muhammad suddenly have information on somebody who
well,
probably died about
prophet,
600 years prior?
prophets are not like you and me. They have a revelation that is revealed to them
Oh,
regardless
okay, so
what time
magic,
it is.
magic.
And no, I mean that's at least what historian and the
No, there's no historian who's just
records
going
of
to
the
say
past
no,
states.
no. There's no historian who's going to say that Muhammad actually had like magical abilities to know that somebody existed from the first century. That's not how that works.
So
You would
what
have
do
to
you
provide
believe?
you would have to provide some kind of evidence as to where he's getting these stories if they are especially if it is new information that hadn't been given prior. Like where is he getting this information from?
Well, as you know, that to my understanding is the prophets are unlike normal human beings. They
Okay,
do
well,
have
then in that case, we can't
revelations.
really talk about it because you're appealing to magic and you think that Muhammad had some magic ability to know something 600 years prior
No.
to his death.
Do you believe on in any of the previous prophets that had
I mean,
existed?
I don't know how to answer that because it's irrelevant. It's an irrelevant question to whether or not you think
No,
magic
I'm just
happened.
trying. No, I'm just
I'm
trying to
trying. What I'm
assess.
trying to do here. What I'm trying to do
Yes,
here
sir.
is keep it to history. We're trying to figure out whether or not Jesus and Paul existed in history. Obviously, we're not talking explicitly about Paul here. We're talking about Jesus, who is supposed to be the son of Mary. But you are saying that there is a surah or a section of the Quran that says that Jesus existed, and you're saying that the reason that this can be trusted historically is because Muhammad had some kind of ability that human beings generally don't have. And that is not only not proven whatsoever, I mean, you're just kind of saying it, and it's magic. And if you're opening up to your magic, then we got to open up to all kinds of different magic, and
No,
like other
I'm not.
religions' magic.
No, I'm not. I'm not relying on human magic.
I mean,
I'm
you
talking
are.
about
I mean, Muhammad is a human,
miraculous.
and
I'm talking about
humans talked about Muhammad and said that he was magical, and you're agreeing with him. That's all that you're doing.
no, no. I'm agreeing with historians that who had
There's
lived
no
for
historian who says
centuries.
that Muhammad was magical.
Well, the historians that followed, that walked with them, and a historian of those
Historians
who
that
had,
walked with Muhammad.
well, his followers, yes,
Okay.
the
Well, there's a big
documented.
difference between people who follow and try to make claims that somebody is magical and
Well,
actual
like you would
historians.
say, disciples, like you would say,
Sweet.
disciples,
Cool.
in
Well, there's a
English.
big difference between disciples and historians. There are no historians of Jesus. There's not even really disciples. But even if Jesus
Right.
existed, at best, he would have people who were just following around saying, oh, this guy is magical. Okay, cool. Do you believe the disciples of Jesus? If let's say Jesus was real and he had disciples, like the New Testament says, and they said that he was the Son of God, do you believe him? Do you believe them when they say that?
The reason I don't,
I
because
don't
there
give a I
are
don't give
no
a shit of how like why you don't. I just asked you if you do or don't. All right. Do you believe a disciple of Jesus if the disciple says Jesus is the Son of God?
if there was indeed his
It's a yes or
disciples,
no. Do you believe a disciple if a disciple said Jesus was the Son of God?
if they can be documented, there
Sweet.
were his
Okay, so we're
disciples, then
we're gonna
yes.
try this one more time. All right.
All right,
Don't be an
all right.
don't be an
I don't mean to be
dishonest
an
piece of
ass.
shit.
You can
Just
say
answer
that. I'm
yes
not
or
trying to
no.
be an ass. I'm just trying to answer
There
you.
are claims in the New Testament from disciples that say that Jesus was the Son of God. There's a claim that disciples are saying this. Do you believe that to be the case? Do you believe that he is the
No,
Son of God?
because
Okay,
I
great.
cannot verify.
You see how easy it is to just say no or yes?
Okay,
It's really
because
that
I
easy.
can
Now,
say I
listen,
can
listen,
verify
listen.
them.
So therefore, just because it is claimed to come from a disciple of somebody, that doesn't make it true, does it?
That's true if they
Okay,
can't be
so I
verified.
don't give two flying fucks if you claim that there is a disciple of Muhammad who is saying that he is a magical person who has the magical ability to just get information 600 years later. I don't care. That doesn't mean anything. I want you to
Well,
give
there's a
me evidence as to how Muhammad suddenly knows this 600 years later and why I care at all about a surah that talks about Mary 600 years after she dies.
That's because of what he had stated. Scientists have proved that what he said was indeed
So
identified.
a scientist has proven Mary. Is that what you're saying?
No,
Okay.
scientists
Well,
have proved
I don't
the
care.
saying
We're
of the
talking.
prophets.
No, because you think that the saying of the prophet is that Mary had Jesus. How did the scientists prove that? We're just talking about one thing. Don't pivot. How did the scientist or anybody else prove that this was a historically reliable surah when it talks
Well,
about Mary
no,
having Jesus?
no. When it comes to birth, I don't think any scientist or anyone on planet Earth can prove it
All right, cool.
with
So
science.
when you started this conversation, you reminded me that you wanted me to read a particular surah that you can't prove. Is that what you're saying?
No,
Okay,
because
well then please
the
prove
readings,
it. Then please
because the
prove it.
readings,
Then
because
please
the
prove it or
readings
provide
of,
evidence for it.
okay, because the readings of such a surah are the the written statements were indeed authenticated because the followers have stated it. That
Cool.
Prophet
Well, you
Muhammad
already
has
said that the
stated it.
followers of Jesus, if there's a follower of Jesus or a supposed follower of Jesus that says he's the Son of God, that
But
doesn't
they
mean he's
can
the
be
Son of God.
so
So
the
again,
difference is
you're just appealing to crazy people who think that Muhammad was
no,
magic.
no.
Do you
I
have
agree
anything
with you.
else?
I see what you're coming from, but
Yeah,
if
I
I
know.
can
Do you
verify your
see anything
story,
else?
if you tell me the story and I
Is there anything
can verify
else?
your story's truth, all right,
You
have a good
can't
day.
you
You're a
can't
good guy,
verify
but
you
I
can't
gotta go.
verify that these
Take care.
people actually knew Muhammad was magic. All right. Well, they're catching a block anyway. I don't give a shit. All right. So moving on. We've got someone else. Corey Jane. Corey Jane's probably got some
Hi.
good evidence for Jesus. That probably
Um,
doesn't involve the Quran, but it's
no,
just a
it
guess.
does
Okay.
not, personally. First of all, I like your hat.
No,
It's a
thank
cool
you.
hat. You're welcome. So I have a couple questions for you first, if that's okay,
Sure.
just so I understand you.
As long as they're relevant, yeah, we'll get to it.
Absolutely, yeah, they're relevant. I've been writing them down. What have you ever believed that Jesus and Paul existed in your life?
Yes. Yes.
You did, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you wanting to be proved wrong? Or
Yeah.
are you just using this as a source of income?
Source of income?
I mean, you make money from these lives, right?
Just the live in general. I think when it's posted on YouTube, some people can watch it. I think that I've made I'll maybe make $10 over the course of
Okay.
like a few months.
So that's not necessarily, so your intention is not making money. It's actually just to conversate history.
Yeah, well, I'm interested in hearing what people have to say. Now, obviously, if people like donate or buy the book and stuff like that, then yeah, I'm going to be monetarily helped out here, and I appreciate that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I do honestly want to have a
deserve it.
conversation about
I
this
don't
kind of stuff.
disagree
Yeah.
with that. I think you should. I'm just trying to understand your intent. So when
Mhm.
I do have evidence that would be specifically for you,
Okay.
it can be a little bit different because I just started believing in Jesus after not believing most of my life for a very long time because I'm like you and I want to
Well,
have
that
proof.
that's probably going to be a good conversation then, because I mean that means that there's something here recently weighing on your mind or whatever, or recently that you've read
Absolutely.
or heard
So
that you know was enough evidence to
yeah.
compel you to believe that they actually existed 2,000 years ago.
Well,
So this is what I want to hear.
I never could find the evidence and I wanted to believe so bad. I wanted to because it just seemed like other people did. And I did start praying. And, when I first did it, I hated it. It felt awkward and it felt stupid, but I really hit rock bottom and I was really just trying to try
Really quick,
anything.
really quick. We're just
Sure.
talking about the historical Jesus. If you think that
Yeah,
Jesus is
I'm
alive
gonna
today
get
or
there.
something, well,
I will get there.
there's not.
So you were
just
saying
skip-
magic earlier?
Yeah, okay. The reason I was saying magic is because we are talking about a historical Jesus. And what the last guest was doing was saying that Muhammad talks about a historical Jesus. And I said, how does Muhammad do that 600 years after Jesus unless he's getting the information from someone? And he said
I
that he
have the
just kind of
answer.
got it. And
Would you
so,
like the answer?
well,
I have the answer.
do you believe that Muhammad just got the answer from God? Like from
Um,
Gabriel? Because it says
do
that
you
Gabriel the
believe
angel met with Muhammad and gave him all this information. Do you believe that to be true?
do you believe in the soul or spirit at all?
Okay, so that's not answering the question. Do you
It's
believe
important to the question.
it's not? Do you believe that
It
Muhammad
is.
it's not. Do you believe that Muhammad actually met with Gabriel, which is what his claim was? That's the claim of the Muslims, is that he met with the angel Gabriel and was given all this information 600 years after Jesus died. Do you believe that to be true?
I don't follow
Okay.
the Quran.
And that's fine, but I asked you a question. Do you believe that the angel Gabriel met with
I've
Muhammad?
never thought about that because I don't focus on Muhammad.
Okay.
So I have
All right.
no,
Well,
I can't answer that.
here's an easy way. Do you believe that Jesus was the son of God?
Yes.
Okay, so then you disagree with Muhammad because Muhammad said, or at least there's a claim that Muhammad met with Gabriel and Gabriel told him that Jesus was not the son of God. All right, so that
I
means
don't
that
think Gabriel told Muhammad
cool,
that. I think that's
perfectly fine,
wrong.
and that's what I asked, and so that's all you needed to say is that no, I don't believe that happened, and that's fine.
I
I don't
needed
believe
you
that it
to.
happened either. I don't believe it
Yeah, I
happened. We
don't.
are on the same page here. But what I'm
Okay.
trying to say here is that when he tried to claim that there is magic that happens, that that an angel can just show
Spirit.
up and give this kind of information, you can call it spirit, I call it magic, it's all the same thing. He is
It's
trying
not.
to claim it is. He is trying to claim
No.
that supernatural things happen to Muhammad. What you are trying to do is you're trying to say that something supernatural happened to you. And that's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. That's okay. You can believe it, but that's not going to get us to actual historical facts. It's not.
I'm going to explain. I just want to give you a viewpoint to think about history a little bit different, adding in spirituality and adding in the spirit. Because if the Holy Spirit is real and he was in the Garden of Eden
If
and
the
ghosts
Holy
are
Spirit
real,
is real?
I believe. Well, I know he's real, but I understand that you're doubting.
Okay.
I know he's real.
Well, how did you
But in
determine
John,
that the Holy Spirit was in the Garden of Gethsemane?
in Garden of Eden,
Oh, the
because
Garden
in
of
John
Eden.
1,
Okay. Well, okay.
yes.
So
Because
okay. Listen.
I
So
can't explain it.
I'm gonna grant you that the Holy Spirit somehow exists. Sweet. How
Sure.
did you determine that a story in John that talks about these supernatural things is somehow correct, but the story than the Quran about Muhammad dealing with supernatural things is incorrect? How did you determine which one was correct when talking about supernatural things?
With my gift of discernment,
Okay. And you got that gift from
God.
Okay. Well, do you know how Muhammad claimed that he got his stuff from God too? How did we know
But he
that you're
wasn't
not just
speaking
making
to
it
the
up too?
Holy Spirit. He was claiming to speak to something different.
Okay. You know who was speaking from the Holy Spirit? That would be Joseph Smith. Do you believe that he visited with the angel
I
Moroni?
don't have. I'm not super sure on that specifically. I'd have to look into that
Okay.
to
Do
get
you
you an
believe?
answer.
Do you believe that after Jesus ascended in heaven into heaven there in from I believe the Mount of Olives there, or a mountain, I guess it just kind of says there after his resurrection, do you believe that he hooked a sharp left and went to America and came down into like Central America and started preaching to the Native Americans? Do you believe that happened?
So the
It's
thing
a yes
about
or no.
history,
It's a yes or no. Do you believe that Jesus descended out of
do I
heaven
need
after
to believe?
No,
Why do you think I need to believe that
you
to
don't.
explain
You
what I
don't.
wanted to?
You don't
So,
have to believe it. I'm asking you if you do.
um,
Do you
okay.
believe that
So
Jesus came after he was done over in Jerusalem and ascended into heaven? Do you believe that he descended down into Central America and preached to the Native Americans there?
I believe that Jesus did everything that the Holy Spirit says that he did.
Cool. Well, the Book of Mormon says that
I
the
don't.
Holy
I don't
Spirit.
believe. So that's not the word of God. The word of God is within.
Unfortunately,
John
it is
1:1
explicitly
says.
from God.
Can I explain one thing to you,
Unfortunately,
please?
unfortunately, the Holy
It will
Spirit
change
is.
your thought process.
Be quiet. Unfortunately, the Holy Spirit told Joseph Smith that Jesus did this. how did you determine that the Holy Spirit is talking to you, but not talking to Joseph Smith? Because Joseph Smith is making the same claims you are. Please explain.
You have to look at the person's actions and fruitfulness to see if they reflect Christ.
Okay. And
You have to
how
look
did
at the
Joseph
action.
Smith not reflect Christ?
I mean, just ask yourself.
I have to ask myself about Joseph Smith?
I mean, you know the teachings of Christ and you know his
Okay.
actions. Do they
Okay.
align?
Okay. Well, unfortunately, Joseph Smith kind of lived the Jesus life.
But he didn't live the Holy Spirit life.
How do you know? What did he do?
His actions do not align with what the
What
Holy
was
Spirit
one of his
would
actions
do.
that does not line up with the Holy Spirit?
You can't answer that. I don't really want to talk about them.
You're
I don't
making
want
the
to give you
claim.
attention.
You're
You
not even
brought
asking
him
me.
up. I didn't
Yeah,
bring
I
him
know.
up.
And you're trying to say that Joseph Smith did not live the life of the Holy Spirit. Tell me
That's why you have to have the gift of discernment to see
Sweet.
that his
Joseph
actions are
Smith
not
had a gift of
aligning with what
discernment.
Jesus would.
He had the gift of
He
discernment.
said he did, but that doesn't mean he does. You have to test
Okay,
the
well,
fruit.
did you
have
say
to
that
test
you
the
did?
spirit.
Did you say that you had the gift of discernment?
I do have the gift
Well,
of
that
discernment.
doesn't mean that
yes.
you do.
That doesn't mean you believe I do, but I know I
Correct.
do.
Okay. Well, prove that you have it right here.
Well,
right here on this live, prove that you have it.
So the only thing I wanted to explain to you,
Sweet. Prove that you have the gift of discernment. Because otherwise we're just going to fall in line with Joseph Smith. I'm sorry. Because Joseph Smith actually has a book and stuff. Go ahead.
So he does not align with Christ, and I do not align with him.
Where's your evidence that he doesn't align with Christ?
His actions, his
What
evilness.
is his actions?
He did.
What actions?
His evilness.
What
I mean,
actions?
you know. His control. He
what?
wanted to be God.
No, he didn't.
He wanted to be God. Okay.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
Where are you getting the idea that he wanted to be God?
So
where did you get that?
I'm not. I will.
Where
probably,
did you get the idea that he wanted to be God? You're making claims. You're pulling things out of your ass, and you're not actually backing it up. What actions?
You have to watch people's actions.
What actions?
I don't.
What actions of Joseph Smith? What actions of Joseph Smith say that he wanted to be God?
Can we go back to talking about
We
Jesus
can go back
and Paul?
to backing up our claims because you came up here with a full chest of confidence.
My claim
Now you're
has
talking about something
nothing
you
to
don't
do
even
with
know what you're
Joseph.
talking about. You're just making up claims.
The only person's experience with the Holy Spirit I can speak on is my own.
Cool. So prove that you actually have the gift of discernment on this live, like I said. Prove it.
Okay, well, I could tell from watching that you are actually seeking truth. You are actually seeking it out.
Sweet. Well, I actually told you that. You didn't need the gift of discernment for that. So please prove that you have the gift of discernment.
Okay, you know what? I understand you don't believe I do.
Just prove it.
I
it's
understand
not,
you don't
it's not
believe
that
I
hard.
do.
Apparently, you've got something that taps into the supernatural. Do it. Show it so that we all can be amazed. Do it. Show it.
Okay. Can I? Let's not interrupt each other. I'll try harder to not interrupt.
Just show the evidence. Like, you have the floor. Show the evidence. Stop talking about the meta. Stop talking about whether or not I'm interrupting. Stop talking about something you don't know, which is very clearly most of the Bible and also the Book of Mormon and the Quran. But please explain how you have the proof of discernment.
Tell you what you
or
know.
the evidence
That's why I
the
asked you.
Gift of discernment. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna let this. I learned long ago I don't have to prove myself to anyone.
Yeah, I know, especially when you don't have anything to back it up. Yeah, you just make claims and then you try to talk dog shit about all of these other people. You talk shit about like Muhammad and about Joseph Smith when you don't even know shit about them. You don't even know anything about your actual Bible. You really, really, really wanted to believe something. You admitted just because other people do, and you just wanted to jump onto the bandwagon because you feel like the world is going that direction because you saw probably a whole bunch of people falling in line with Christianity because of Mango Mussolini. My point is, you don't have the gift of discernment any more than anybody else who you claim doesn't have it. You just have something that you kind of like, and it makes you feel good, and that's fine. Cool. I'm glad that you're happy, but you don't have the gift of discernment, and we all know it.
Have you ever heard of this psychological term projection?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Have you ever heard of the psychological term of, I don't know, schizophrenia?
I actually took myself and got evaluated for it.
Yeah.
And they told me I don't have it.
Well, you might want to try an actual doctor this time. That being said, do you have any evidence that you have the gift of discernment?
I actually checked myself into a medical professional for 3 days.
Well,
they said I was okay.
Are you still there?
I'm not.
Okay. Do you have any evidence for your gift of discernment?
Not yet, but if I feel the need to come back and tell you, not for you specifically.
Not yet? Well,
Not yet for
unfortunately,
you.
1 Peter 3:15 says you should always be prepared to give a defense of why you believe what you believe when questioned or demanded, and do so respectfly. So you're
I'm
letting God
trying.
down. Sorry. So if you
I'm
don't have any
trying
evidence
to.
or proof of the things that you believe and the things that you're claiming, like that you have the gift of discernment, then I'm sorry, you're letting down God.
Okay. If that, I mean, I was
Anything
just
else?
here to try to help you get some more
Nah, you
evidence,
didn't
but I
help at all. You just
understand
kind of talked about like a bunch of magic willy-nilly
spirit,
gobbledygook.
not magic
It
spirit.
is magic. You just don't call it magic.
Exactly. I call it spirit because
Yeah, I know.
vocab
Because
is
you just,
important.
yeah, no, it's because of the fact that magic in your mind implies that it's fake and you don't think it's fake, or you don't know it's fake.
I used to until I got experience versus evidence.
Cool. So you don't have evidence? And
Not for you
also,
yet, but if you'd
not
like,
yet?
can we talk again
Okay, cool.
sometime? Can we talk again sometime? Can I
Probably
come back
not.
up here?
I mean, you're
Okay,
more than
all
welcome
right.
to
That's your
request up.
choice.
That's perfectly fine, but you're going to need to show evidence when you get back up here. Because we talk about
Okay.
evidence. We talk about real things up here, ma'am.
Okay. I understand how you're seeing me. I get it.
I'm seeing you
And
as
I
a crazy person who came up here and started talking about how she has some gift that she can't show.
okay. I'm not crazy, and I don't
Do
think
you
you are
have
either.
any evidence for this particular gift? Any evidence at all that you can give
I
us?
will, if you're okay with me coming back later and explaining something
What are
to
you
you,
going
I
to
will.
come back later with?
I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet.
You
I
like
have to.
the head of John the Baptist? Like what do you
No,
what do you
that'd be
suddenly?
weird.
The whole thing is weird.
I
That's the
know it
weird
is.
part.
It's been weird for me too.
Yeah.
It's been weird. Yeah.
What do you think you're suddenly gonna have the next time you come back up here?
I don't know yet. That's kind of the point. But if you don't want any
So
evidence,
your
then
gift
I
of
won't bring it.
discernment, the point of the gift of
You're
discernment is
asking
to
me for
not
evidence,
know.
and I okay. So
The
you're asking
point
me
of
for
the gift of
evidence.
discernment is to not know. What do you
I
mean?
do
That's kind of
know.
the point.
Do you?
I don't know
Do you?
yet. That's kind of the
I'm
point.
not in control,
Well, then I
man.
guess
I'm
it's
not
not
the
the
one
gift
in
of
control.
discernment, is it?
So I already know what I
It sounds
have,
like
and
it's
I
the
can't.
gift of bullshit. It's the gift of gab at best.
Okay.
I mean,
Um.
how is the gift of discernment not knowing what you're probably going to have?
Well, what's happening right now is my discernment is telling me that you will not hear me right now. But if I
I've
go
been
and I
asking
take
for
what you
evidence this
said,
whole time. You've just been telling me you don't have anything. What do you mean
but I don't.
I'm not
I
willing to
don't.
hear it? You don't have anything
I
to
don't.
give.
I can later though if you're patient and you can wait. But if you aren't, then
What do
okay,
you
I
got to
won't come
like
back up here.
what do you got to do, like hop off the app and then think of something? Like really quick, let
I
me
mean,
think
do you
of
want me
something
to
to write
really
down
tell
so
you
I
what
can
I'm
like
gonna
try to do it.
do? Do you want me to really tell you
Well,
what I'm
I've
gonna
asked
do?
multiple
I'm
times.
gonna.
What
I'm
are you
gonna
gonna do?
pray about it, man.
Then just
I'm gonna
pray for it
about
here. Pray for it here,
You
and
want me-
then
do you want me to pray for
magically,
you?
the 300 people on TikTok that are watching, and the 225 people on YouTube, what they'll do is they'll see that you are absolutely beaming with supernatural glow, and you will have
Do you want
this
me to
gift
pray
of
for
discernment.
you?
I didn't ask to
Do you
be
want me to?
prayed for. I'm saying if
Oh,
you are
okay.
going to pray for your gift of discernment to suddenly kick in, then do
That's
it,
not how it
and then
works,
show.
man.
Then what
It's
are you
just
going to
not how it
pray for?
works.
What are you going to pray for?
I'm gonna pray because God loves you, and clearly you
Awesome.
used to know
We
Him.
weren't talking about me. We were talking about your
And
gift
so
of
I'm gonna
discernment.
ask Him specifically for you, specifically
Sweet.
how I
Well,
can show Him
why
you.
why don't we
like
try
you
to get that
specifically,
gift of
man.
discernment evidence? You said you'd be able to come back with that. How is
You
praying for
don't
me?
believe me,
Listen,
I
listen,
respect that. You
listen.
don't have to believe
How
me.
is
That's
praying
okay.
for me going to somehow give you the gift of discernment evidence that you can provide later?
It just will. That's how it works.
It is. If you pray for me, somehow you get the gift of discernment evidence to show later.
So
Is that how that works?
I'm here
Does
right
your
now
gift
because
of
I
discernment
care about your
does your
soul.
gift of discernment like explain how it works at all, or is that just another one of these we don't know and that's the point kind of things?
So I don't know you. We're strangers, right? I mean, you've made a lot of claims about me. I don't know your I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what your childhood was like. I don't
Sweet.
know what religion has done to
Sweet.
hurt you.
Well,
I don't know.
I guess the gift of discernment doesn't help you with that
But
either.
if I go and pray about it,
Uh-huh.
if I go pray about it, God can help me come up with something specifically for you because He knows
Oh, so
you.
come up with something. Yeah, exactly. There it is. You said it. You said the quiet part out loud. You're going to come up with something. I told you that was what you're going to do. You're
Yeah,
going to sit
think.
around and you're going to think of something to say to come
I'm
back
gonna
on here and be
pray
like,
and
oh, hey,
think.
because you can't think off your feet, or you can't think on your
I
feet right
can
here.
think off. I
No,
can,
you
but I
can't.
can.
Which is why you're going to hop off. You want to hop off so bad so that you can try to think of something so that you might be able to come back later and say, oh, hey, I thought of X, Y, and Z.
I won't if you don't want me to.
Well, I'm wanting you to do it right here.
That's not how God works. We're not in control, man. That's you.
So
what
now
you want.
know how God works, but you also
I
didn't
do,
know earlier,
finally.
and that was the
Hallelujah.
point.
I didn't, but now I do. I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
until I was
Oh,
29.
okay. The gift of discernment's kind of kicking in. It just takes a while. Maybe God has
Yeah,
bad
amen,
Wi-Fi.
brother. You got it. It does take a while. To kick in.
Maybe you should try praying harder. Maybe your God's asleep. You ever heard
Okay,
that Bible story?
I will pray harder. That's a good
I don't
advice.
think you know what Bible story I'm referencing.
So the word isn't the Bible.
What Bible?
You know that, right?
What Bible story was I referencing with your gift of discernment? Tell me.
I don't worship the Bible. I worship
didn't
the word,
that.
and the word is within.
I didn't ask that at all. I didn't ask anything that sounded like that.
Man, you know the Bible better than me. You know the actual text probably better. And
I don't even have the gift of discernment.
Well, my phone's on 1%. So.
Oh well, discern some more juice. Discern some more battery life.
But I hope you have a good rest of your life, and I hope you find what you're seeking.
Try to pray it up to 5% real quick.
I really just keep seeking, man. Don't stop.
Keep praying. Keep doing that.
I will.
Yeah,
I will.
See how good that does. Anyways.
I will.
Yeah. All right. Keep your head up your own ass. See ya. All right. We're moving on to somebody else. My God. We are looking for actual historical evidence for Jesus or Paul. We're not looking for magic and claims to be able to do magic. That's not how that works. Anyways, I did want to get to some super chats really fast. We have $5 there from Resting Opface says, breaking news, a small town in France had discovered a bottle containing Mary Magdalene's queef. Oh my God. We're already on this bullshit today. Ridiculous. All right. And once we hit 100, I'm I'm blocking that fucking word. All right, $4.98. Cool Cat McFat. Wow. She accidentally discerned me into sending $500. Not $500. $5. 500 would be fucking insane. Don't do that. All right. And then £2 there from Neptune Cult says she needs to look you up online to stalk you. That's what it is. She's like, oh no, give me a little bit of time so that I can come back and say some stuff after I've like looked you up. It's just like a cold reading that she's really, really bad at. Anyways, moving on. The Seraphim Project. The Seraphim Project. What you got? You there?
Pleasure to meet you.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. So, my first kind of point is morality, and my question to you is, first, are you an atheist? Are you agnostic? What's your belief?
What does that have to do with whether or not two people existed in history, man?
Well, I'm curious. I'm just curious what you believe.
Okay.
So what's the answer to the question?
You can be curious. That's fine. But I mean, I'm not going to answer irrelevant questions. But what's your evidence for Jesus or Paul?
No, I think it's an important point because it's...
is your answer on how Jesus, like your evidence for Jesus or Paul, is that going to change based off of whether or not I'm this denomination or that denomination?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's not good evidence. It's just something theological, and we don't talk about that here. We talk about history, sir.
So you're not open to the idea of talking about spirituality at all?
That's not how we define or determine whether or not people existed in history. That doesn't have anything to do with it.
So you refuse to talk about anything in terms of morality, in terms of what you believe in your own sort of
morality is not how we figure out whether or not someone existed in the past.
I think it's a very, very important thing because,
I didn't say it wasn't important. I said it doesn't have anything to do with whether or not two people existed in history. So do you think these two people existed or not? Do you have evidence or not? I mean, it has nothing to do with my religion, your religion, Kevin down the street's religion. Our morality doesn't have anything to do with it.
So you wouldn't just give me your own opinion on where you stand in terms of morality, in terms of what you think is right.
Does this live look like I talk about morality?
I'm
talking about whether or not two people existed.
it seems like you're
It seems like
interested
you're in
more
the
in the
wrong
idea
live and you
of
keep asking questions that don't have anything to do with the topic that you either didn't read before coming up here or you thought that I was willing to talk about things that aren't part of the live. And now that I'm telling you that, you just refuse to understand that you're in the wrong spot. Like, we
okay.
are
Well, can
talking
I
about
just kind
whether or
of
not
briefly
Jesus and
go
Paul
over
existed in the
why?
past. My religion, your religion, even if they change, that doesn't suddenly change the past. Like,
Okay,
just give me the evidence. Either they existed or they didn't. Either you have evidence or you don't. What do you got?
right. Well, can you let me talk for about 1 or 2 minutes, just uninterrupted?
Yeah, as long as it's on the topic, give me the evidence for Jesus or Paul. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's not directly linked towards Jesus and Paul existing, but
Oh,
my
okay.
stance on
Well, that's what the
morality
topic is. So
is
you go ahead and just skip ahead to the part that's directly linked. And if you don't have any, then we're just going to move on to somebody else who's capable of reading a background before joining a live.
right. Well, where I stand is there's a lot of near-death experiences that people have. There's a lot
Wait,
of
that has
instances
nothing
where
to do with
people,
whether or not Jesus existed 2,000 years
it's-
ago. So skip ahead
but
to that
this
part.
this all no, but this all points to something
No, it
that's
doesn't.
are
No, it
anomalies within
doesn't.
science that
You don't
science
even
can't
need a
explain.
near-death experience.
And
If I
once you
see
start,
somebody alive, like if I saw Jesus today in my room, you know what that would mean? It would mean Jesus is alive today in my room. It wouldn't automatically mean, oh, hey, he was sweating his balls off 2,000 years ago in Judea. That doesn't have anything to do with that.
but
All it has
why
is just what's in front of me.
But why, as an individual, are you just so focused in on just this one question? Why don't you just overall look at
Well,
the,
if you
like
want to
the
find a
bigger
live
picture?
that's talking about whether or not you think that Jesus can jerk you off, then that's fine. You can go find that. But what I'm talking about is whether or not Jesus existed 2,000 years ago. That's all that I'm talking about on this live. Like, I get that you can't wrap your head around the idea that somebody is interested in answering a question, and I mean, I get it, but I don't know how to help you there.
Well, to me, it just seems like it's because the answer is you don't have a moral compass. There's no way that you can find your
Nope, that has
morality.
nothing to
Like,
do with that. You're
if
just
I
trying
was,
to
if
pivot
I
yet
was to,
again. We're
if I
talking about
was
whether or
to,
not Jesus and
no,
Paul existed. Do you have
if I
any
was to
evidence for
kill
that?
somebody
Sweet.
according to your morality,
I don't give a shit, and you don't know my morality, and you're not going to know my morality, and you're not going to know what God I get it from, because we're not talking about that. We're talking about whether or not two people existed in history. You have about 5 seconds. I just sent you an invite to unmute. You got about 5 seconds to get the train back on the tracks, or we're going to go ahead and move on to the next person who's been patiently waiting during
okay,
all of your
what do you
bullshit.
think about the Shroud of Turin?
What do I think about it? I think it's something from
Yeah,
the 1300s because it's something from the 1300s.
right. Well, how do you explain the image that was left off? How do you explain all
What do
the
you mean
blood that's
left
left off?
off? What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about the imprint that's left on, like the image that's the supernatural image that's
It's a bas
imposed on the shroud.
relief. I mean, it's already been proven that it was a bas relief, that it was actually used for the image itself. May have involved blood, possibly just red paint. It doesn't really matter. I don't give a shit. Either way, it is something that has been made from a bas relief, which is like a slightly raised, almost 3D-ish looking like artwork. It was made in the 1300s, which is why the weave itself that creates the shroud is 3-to-1 herringbone, which requires the technology of a loom that wasn't even available in the first century, and it was only available there starting in the Middle Ages. The shroud itself should not look the way that it looks if it was an actual impression. On your screen right now, I am showing you, or I'm pulling up right now, this is what the shroud looks like there on the left. This is the negative. On the right, you see just it highlighted. Unfortunately, a 3D object like a body, a head, torso, arms, fingers, everything would not actually appear that way if you put something on it and then stretch it flat on a 2D surface like a sheet. It would end up looking something like this. Right here, I'm holding up here on your screen. This is a mask. If you were to put mud, dust, blood, paint, whatever you want on this, or if it was just like somehow beamed out with energy and light or whatever the fuck you think it is due to whatever crazy conservative Catholic conspiracy you want to read, if you were to get an image of this face or this thing, this head, half of a head, onto a sheet and then lay that sheet flat, it would look like this. That's why the Mask of Agamemnon looks the way that it looks. That's why we end up with something like this. The Shroud of Turin is fake. That's how that works. It's not that
Explain
hard.
the 3D information that's left on the actual
The what?
image. The 3D information that's left on the
There's not
image.
3D image. What are you talking about?
You're not familiar with the information that they were able to
What
get from the shroud in
information?
terms of...
What information are you talking about? Be specific.
Well, okay, I don't know the specifics of the 3D
Okay.
information.
How do we
but I
get the
know- I know
DNA
it's-
of a
I know
marine worm
it's-
that lives off the coast of Canada on there? How do we get tree pollen from both Australia and also South America on there? How is that possible? Yeah,
Well, I would say
it's
that
because
the
of the fact that
artifact
anything that they
existed
find
for
on
about
there is
3,000
because of the
years,
fact
so
that
if
it's something
it's-
that people had visited. Yes. In no way, shape, or form did they get anything on there that somehow dates it to the 1st century Judea. In fact, the shroud
Well, didn't
itself
they
was
find
first mentioned
pollen
3
from
times while it
Jerusalem
was
on the
in
shroud?
France. No, they found it in France. The first time it is
No,
ever mentioned
I'm
is
sure
in
that
Uri,
they found
France.
some from Jerusalem.
No.
I'm 100% on that.
Well, unfortunately, you got to go back and possibly try reading again. I don't know if that's a strong suit of yours, but let's try it again. Because no, they don't have anything
Right, well,
directly
if
from
somebody-
Jerusalem. At best, they have things from the entire Levant, the entire Near East, or the entire Middle East. We do not have anything that would somehow prove that it is explicitly from Jerusalem, and especially something from Jerusalem specific to the 1st century. That is not a thing.
Well, the ancient burial methods all match up in
The
terms of
ancient
the
burial
first
methods
century, in
wouldn't make
terms of
any
how they
sense either,
crucified
because the
people.
Gospel of John says he was buried in strips of linen and had a napkin over his face, not one sheet. So no.
No, it matches up. It matches up biblically.
No, it doesn't. The Gospel of
because-
John says they were strips of linen and a napkin over his face. Those are 2 separate things, and it explicitly says that the napkin was laying in a different place from the strips of linen whenever Peter and John went into the tomb in the Gospel of John. It sounds like you haven't even read your Bible. That being said, do you have any other evidence for Jesus or Paul, or would you like to keep jacking off at the mouth about the Shroud of Turin?
I want to keep talking about the shroud. I want
Okay,
to talk
what else you
about the
got?
post-mortem blood and
Okay, sweet,
how you
awesome.
explain
So
that. Because
it
there's
does it.
post-mortem and
Sweet.
pre-mortem blood
So
on
it
that.
does. Okay. First of all, not all scientists believe that that is actual blood. Some think that it's just red paint, and there's certain pigments in there that come from paint. But I'll go ahead and grant you that it's blood. All right. Do you think that someone in the 1300s believed that the crucifixion involved Jesus's blood? And that Jesus would have
Yes,
been
of
bleeding?
course.
Okay, yeah. So whenever someone makes artwork in the 1300s of Jesus after he was taken down from the cross, do you not think that they would have thought to use blood?
They would have used blood, but they
Yeah,
would have had
sweet,
to
awesome.
use
So just
blood
using
from a
blood doesn't
tortured
mean anything.
individual.
Also,
because
there is
the
no
blood that
no,
is actually on the
nope,
shroud is still
nope,
red.
not at
and
all.
It's
Nope. In
usually
fact, the
oxidizes
blood,
into a different
yeah.
color,
In fact,
but
the
because it's still red,
oxidation,
it
the iron.
points to someone being tortured.
The oxidized iron on there is something that you also find in red paint. So no, that is incorrect. Congratulations, you're
confirmed it
stupid
not
for
to
2
be
different
paint.
reasons. Do you have anything else?
Because it's the most studied artifact in the world, right? And they
No,
confirmed
it's
it
not.
to
But
be
anyways,
blood.
do
They
you have
confirmed it to
anything
be
else?
blood. Well, I want to continue talk about this because
Okay.
this is
well,
an interesting.
the Shroud of Turin,
interesting-
unfortunately, the actual image itself cannot be made from a 3D object, putting its imprint in any way, shape, or form onto a 2D plane. So even if you try to
Well,
find
isn't it-
something that in the actual fabric or something like that, not only would it not date to the 1st century, not only would it not connect anything to Jewish people or specifically to Jewish people or specifically to Jerusalem or anything like that from that time period, especially, it's not going to matter because the artwork itself is not real because it doesn't line up with how we know that 3D objects like a body or a face interact with a 2D plane like a sheet. That is not how that works. So please try something else.
Right. Well, I would just say the parts that were tested were corner pieces of the shroud, and
Awesome.
I think it was 10 pieces that were taken, and I think 3 were tested, and only 1 came back with results.
No,
and the
that
one
is
that they
not
did
even
test,
accurate. No, that's not even accurate information there. Multiple labs were tested, and multiple labs came back with the same dating of 1300s. That's why the Catholics actually updated their stance to how this is not an actual real thing from the 1st century. It's not an actual real relic of Jesus, but instead just something that brings people closer to their faith. You can see the most recent Pope Francis, whenever he went over to Turin to actually take a look at this or to talk about it, he stopped short of saying that it is actual real thing and just says that it draws people closer to the faith. So no, the study actually came back from multiple labs, and multiple labs said the same dating, which is the 1300s or the 14th century. Try again.
isn't it true that the ones that were tested were shown to have cotton in them? So it was shown to be patchwork and not actual
No.
pieces of the shroud.
No. In fact, if that was the case, the Catholic Church would not have actually like updated their stance on it. In fact, the conspiracy theory that you're trying to like talk about is something that tries to say that there was like a fire and this was just something that where it had been repaired. But that is reliant upon information that the Catholic Church would have had because they're trying to claim that the Catholic Church had that information. So you think the Catholic Church had the information about the fire and knew that this was something that was just replacement and then sent the replacement off to the labs, got it back, and then updated their stance based on something that was incorrect? The Catholic Church
I think that happened because
updated
if you
their
think
stance
about
on
this,
something
like,
that they knew was incorrect?
right.
Okay, so why would the Catholic Church somehow say, "Hey, something that we've said for over for like not 1,000 years, but something that we've said for about like 500-600 years was wrong because
no,
we sent
because I
something that we
believe that
shouldn't have sent to a lab, and we trusted
I believe
it."
that the Catholic Church actually got ownership of the shroud much later on. I think it was between the 1900s.
No,
And
that's not
before
even
that,
remotely
we
close. It's
don't.
called the Shroud of Turin because it's actually there in Turin, like Turin, Italy, like at a monastery. On top of that, the place that it was found initially was in Lille, France, and it was first talked about by the Catholics because it was a relic. It was from the time of the Catholics in the 1300s. So no, dude, like
It was the
not even remotely
1300s
close.
then.
Yes, the 1300s is when it's first starts popping up.
Right, and then after the 1300s, it's documented and it's kept in like churches and whatnot, right?
The Catholic Church, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So before the 1300s, then, from
We don't
Christ's death
have it
till
in
the
the before the 1300s.
Right. That's what I'm saying. During that time period, is it not like logical to think that there might be like a fire at some point, or there might be patchwork done to the shroud to keep it
No.
like
If that was the case, then they would have seen that the patchwork was done prior to the 1300s. The fact that it came up with the 1300s is not indicative of some kind of patchwork, but indicative of that's when it was actually made. You're insinuating that a time before we have any mention of it, it existed somewhere else, and there's a fire that we don't know of, and it was replaced in the 1300s. No. In fact, you're not even getting the conspiracy theory right. The conspiracy theory is the idea that like it starts out and the Catholics know about it and then there's a fire. You're trying to say that
right.
there's a fire
Okay.
before the Catholics even know about it. You don't even have the conspiracy theory right.
Well, what I have to say to that is,
Yeah. Also, the
I
shroud
believe that
itself, the image does not depict a 3D object, which a body is. So it doesn't really matter what kind of shit you can throw against the wall to see if it sticks. It's not going to do anything because the way the shroud looks is indicative of artwork, not anything else. We know what a actual like funerary mask would look like, and it does not look like that. You would get like the sides of the face, the ears. You would get this kind of stuff.
Is it not true that we can't recreate the shroud? Because
We
I
can.
hear that
In
all
fact,
the time.
Luigi Marascelli in 2009 actually did it. We can, pretty easily. We can, and we've done it multiple times.
How do you explain the photo negative stuff?
What the fuck are you talking about, dude? That's exactly what they recreate in order to try to get it, and to say that they've done.
No, in terms of when they take a picture of it in photo negative.
The photo
and,
negative
like, they
is what I
to
showed
see
you. Yeah, that's how they get to it. Yeah. Jesus
But like
Christ.
you're
Do
saying
you
that,
have
so
anything
they,
else?
you're saying that
I don't
you're
think you
saying that they
understand
can
what a photo negative is.
recreate.
That's what we've been talking about this entire time.
No, I understand, but my question is, you're saying that they can recreate that.
We can recreate the shroud itself, and then under a photo negative, it would look the same way. That's what it's talking about. Yes, dude. Do you think that they're trying to like make the image in the photo negative? The photo negative itself.
Okay, no, fair. I didn't
Photo
know that we
negative
could recreate
is this.
something
Like they don't make this. Like they make the opposite of this. This is just the negative. In fact, the negative is how we see things a little clearer. Like
Well,
we see
how do
the
you
artwork
explain
a
that
little clearer.
How do you explain that they did that all the way back in the medieval century before photographs existed?
You're going to have to actually take a look at like Luigi Marascelli's like reconstruction, or you can take a look at how we know that this is from the bas relief and everything. So I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like,
Can you explain what the bas relief is?
I already
Again.
did. You can watch it on YouTube and you can check it out. But
Right.
Cicero Morales is the person he's a Brazilian researcher, and he's the one who does the digital reconstruction of the image of the Shroud of Turin. And he's the one that shows that the shroud, he supported a hypothesis that it was created in the Middle Ages using a bas relief. So, I mean, you can look up his methodology on this if you want and how a bas relief would be used. But unfortunately, unless you're
Right.
actually willing to read from actual like scientists and not just conservative Catholics who just dick around and try to say that like, oh, hey, this new method that we've never tested on anything else is how we know it's from the first century. Unless you're
Okay.
actually
And
willing
how do
to
you
read
how do
from
you how
real
do you
scientists,
explain
then I don't know what to do. But we're going to go
how do you
ahead and move
explain the
on
Dead
from the
Sea?
shroud because I've already debunked it. Do you have anything else before I
Okay.
disconnect you?
Yeah, let's talk about the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Sweet. That has nothing to do with Jesus. Next.
But it has direct affiliation with Jesus because it's
No, it
scripture
doesn't.
that dates back all the way to the first century,
No, it
and it
doesn't.
confirms about what a
No,
large
it
portions
doesn't.
of the Bible that we have
What
today.
What do you think is in the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Well, there's over 900 manuscripts.
Sweet.
And
Name
some
a
of them
book
are
that's
written
in the
at
Dead Sea
stone, some of them are
Scrolls.
at scale.
Name a book that's in the Dead Sea Scrolls. In the Dead Sea Scrolls.
I know
Name
some
one.
of, I believe
Name
some of
one.
Isaiah is written.
Cool. Sweet. That, yes. Because it's from the Old Testament. There's nothing about Jesus in there. Next question.
Right, but in the Old Testament, Jesus is referred to in the
No,
Old
he's
Testament.
not.
That's
The
very
name Jesus doesn't even pop up in Isaiah whatsoever. Congratulations. You're stupid in 2 different languages. Go ahead and give me your next question.
I believe that you know it is referred to in the Old Testament. Jesus.
He's not. He's not. Keep
But
going.
it's referred. Well, that's an entirely different conversation.
It's
But
not.
I believe
He's
that.
not in there. Give me the verse where
No,
Jesus
because
is mentioned.
that's
Give me
more
the verse
that's more
where
of a Christian.
Give me the verse
That's
that
more
the
of a
name
Christian
Jesus is
faith.
mentioned.
Yeah, but that goes along
Give
more
me the
in terms
verse
of
that the name
Christian.
Jesus is mentioned.
Jesus isn't mentioned explicitly.
All
but
right, sweet,
he's-
awesome. Then move on to your next point. What's your next point?
My point is, if you don't want to talk about the Dead Sea Scrolls,
I
if you don't
don't.
want to
Next
talk about
point.
okay, would you talk about near-death experiences?
That has nothing to do with. We've already talked about it. It has nothing to do with history. Try again.
Right, so you wouldn't be willing to talk about if people have like zero brain activity in their head and their brain should be shut off, that they should be able to basically see
Sweet.
nothing.
That has nothing to
But
do
the
with
fact that they're
history.
able to
Even if
come
they
back
did
and
see
they do-
Jesus, that doesn't have anything to do with history. That's what we're talking about. Next
Yeah,
point.
but don't you find that interesting? You're
Nope,
not willing
next
to
point.
talk about near-death
Nope.
experiences
Next
at all.
point.
You're not willing to talk
No,
about
I also find it
interdimensional stuff
interesting
that
that your mom
scientists
wore
talk
that
about.
fun thing that I like for her to wear last night, but that doesn't have anything to do with this topic. Please move to the next point and stay on topic.
If you're gonna keep barking like a dog and saying disrespectful things, then I'm just gonna leave. But if you don't want to
The
talk
oh
about
shit handle is right there.
near-death
Go ahead and pull it.
experiences,
Pull it like your mom pulled me last
interdimensional
night.
beings,
Go ahead. Hit the X. You can do it.
yeah, I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
hit the X. You disrespectful.
Cool. I don't give a shit. There you go. He found it. Ridiculous. All right. Ride
Hello.
PSP. What you got?
Hey, what's up, man? How
Hey.
you doing?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
All right. So, been listening for a little while. Just want to make
Yeah.
sure.
Sorry about that last cast. He did not understand the assignment whatsoever. Oh,
So good. You want to move
Ride
first?
PSP. You there? Maybe
Sorry.
you got a call.
Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I was just.
Oh man, I can't hear you whenever you get a call. It sounds like you're getting a call or a text or hopping off the app or something like that.
Yeah, I apologize.
Okay.
I think it's something to do with my phone.
Oh, okay.
Give me 1 second.
No worries. What you got? I can hear you now. What you got?
Just some historical evidence outside of the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
I don't know if you're familiar with Josephus.
Yep. What you got?
Flavius Josephus.
Mhm. What you got?
He was a Jewish historian around the 1st century.
Okay.
Are you familiar with him?
Yep. That's how I
Oh.
have them on the backboard or the board behind my head.
Oh, okay. So what do you think about his writing?
I
His
don't.
what's your opinion on it?
Like which part?
Well, the fact that he wrote about the existence of Jesus
Oh,
around
he
that
did?
time.
Okay. And Josephus was a Christian,
He was a Jewish historian.
so not a Christian.
No, because this is not about Christianity, right? So this is about evidence outside of Christianity.
Okay.
To
So
to
what does
affirm
Josephus say about him? What does this non-Christian say about Jesus?
that he existed, that he was a real figure.
Okay. What else does he say?
Uh,
I can't hear you when you hop off the app.
Hold on, I just have it. I have it written down here. 1 second.
Would you like for me to pull it up on the screen?
Oh, sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'll make it a little easier. All right. We're going to go ahead and take a look at what you're talking about here. You're talking about the testimony of Flavianum. That's not a problem. All right.
If you look up his work, he mentions the.
I don't think he says Jesus existed, though. I think he said that the angels came down. He saw the angels.
All right. All right. So the testimony of Flavianum.
Mhm.
Okay. So see this line right here? What does that say?
He was a Christ.
Yeah, you think that's what a non-Christian would say?
Well, that's what they called him
Okay.
during that time.
Okay, sweet. Right here.
So it's like,
What does that say?
if he did one ought to call him a man.
So in other words, he could have been more than a man. Does that sound like a non-Christian?
Well, it's
Yeah.
during
Right
that
here
time
where it
he was
says he
famous
appeared to
for.
them spending a third day restored to
Mhm.
life. In other words, he resurrected. It doesn't say anybody claims it. It just says he did. Does that sound like something that a non-Christian would say?
Well, he was not a Christian. He was a Jewish
Yeah, I know. Do you think that a
historian.
non-Christian would say that Jesus resurrected?
No,
No.
he's a historian.
Sweet.
So he's
So
making a claim.
do you think that a non-Christian would say that Jesus resurrected?
But that's not what he claimed, though. He's
No, he
just
said
writing
he appeared to
history.
them spending a third day restored to life. In other words, that he resurrected. Do you think a non-Christian would say that Jesus resurrected?
Like I said, he's a historian. So it's
Cool.
like
So it's a
writing
yes or no question. Do you think a non-Christian would say that Jesus resurrected?
No, but anybody can
Okay,
mention
awesome.
that. Anybody
Sweet.
can.
So then he keeps going on. It says, "For the prophets of God had foretold these things and 1,000 other marvels about him." Do you think a non-Christian would have said that he was foretold by the prophets? Do you think a non-Christian Jewish person would say that Jesus was the Messiah foretold by the prophets?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So it's pretty obvious that this was not written by Josephus. It's added later. In fact, the first person who mentions it is an admitted liar named Eusebius, writing in the early 4th century, a little over 200 years after the death of Josephus.
But I'm talking directly to the work Antiquis. Is that
That's
what?
what this
Is
is
that what
from.
he?
Yeah. What
Is
do
that
you
what
think
that's
this says
from?
right here?
Okay.
Yep. Unfortunately, Antiquities of the Jews, Book 18, Chapter 3, Section 3, which is what you're talking about, called the Testimony of Flavianum, was not written by Josephus. It's written by Eusebius about, like I said, a little over 200 years after the death of Josephus. It is not actually written by him. It's added later. Multiple church fathers prior to Eusebius in the 4th century quote from Josephus, some of them quoting from Antiquities of the Jews. None of them mention that paragraph. Not a single line. It is added later.
Oh, what do you think about Tacitus? Tacitus. I don't know how to pronounce that.
So Tacitus is a historian who used to be a Roman senator. Writing in about 116, he writes Annals, and in this text we see in the earliest manuscript of it from the 11th century, we actually see the Christians editing the words to make it fit more of what they say. We literally see edits being made of that text. He calls Pontius Pilate a procurator, or the text calls Pontius Pilate a procurator when he was a prefect. Judea didn't even have a procurator until the decade after Pilate was dismissed in 36. It also tries to say that the Christians, which is what it says in the original text, Christians with an E, not Christians, Christians, got their name from Christus, which doesn't make any sense. And Christus is the only person, he says, that got the extreme penalty from Pilate. So he doesn't say the name Jesus. Christ isn't even a name, it's a title. So he's not looking at any kind of arrest record because they wouldn't have put down Christ. Hell, Pilate,
Right.
according to the Gospels, doesn't even put the
But
word Christ above his head on the cross.
well, when he was crucified, he on the plate that was placed above Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
it says that he was the King of the Jews. Am I
it's
right?
not Christ. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the reference to him, right? I mean, the Christ was a name given from the Jewish text, so everybody was already
No,
waiting for
Christ
the
is a
Messiah.
title, not a name. So would the Romans have written down that they crucified Christ, or would they have put Yeshua or his Greek or Latin variant?
It doesn't make sense for them to use his
Name?
yeah, it doesn't make sense
You don't
because
think
at
that
the
the
end of
people who crucified Jesus would use his name on the arrest record?
no, because the Romans were already upset with the Jews, so they
So they
just make
think
a
that
mockery.
Jesus was the Christ?
No, they just make a mockery out of it. It's
Why
the
would they
whole
make a mockery out of it? That doesn't make any sense. Pilate
because
doesn't even put the word Christ above his head. Where are you getting the idea that they would have put the word Christ?
from the Jewish text, they already knew
The
about
Romans knew the Jewish text?
well, some of them, yeah, some of them do.
Okay. Well, where on any kind of arrest record do you ever see the title of a person put as opposed to their name? When in any record, did they just see the the title of a person as opposed to his name? You think they said, "Oh, hey, we crucified these two rebels or these two thieves, and then also the Savior, the Messiah"?
I mean, you ask for evidence
Yeah, and then you
historically, and
provided none.
most of these are already approved by many historians that these are
Approved
records.
by historians?
Yeah, they argue that these are historical records
Mm-hmm.
from the first century
Yeah.
about Jesus
Well, that
Christ.
doesn't even make any sense. Tacitus is writing in the early 2nd century.
No, he wrote this. He wrote this between 93 and 94 AD.
No, that's Josephus. You're looking at the
Right,
wrong
that's
thing.
Josephus.
Yeah, we're talking about
And then-
Tacitus. And also,
Yeah, but
Josephus did not
Tacitus-
write that. I already showed you that that's something from
But
Eusebius.
Tacitus-
In fact, scholars acknowledge that at least a portion of it is interpolated later. So, no. Even if you're appealing to scholars, it's not really going to help you here.
All right, well, these are historians from the first century, so
No,
know what else.
again, Tacitus is early 2nd century.
no, he wrote it around 100.
No, he wrote it in 116. I told you that earlier. It's Annals. You can look it up.
Right, I know, it's 116, yeah.
And
But
116 is
that's-
in what century?
It's after the, well, yeah, but it's still
So
around the same
116
time.
is in what century?
What- It's okay, I get your point. Not necessary to argue.
I mean, it is because you're trying to say that it's from the 1st century, and I want to make sure that you're aware that it's not.
I understand.
Okay, so what century is 116 in?
Second.
Okay, so again, Tacitus is in the 2nd century, and no, the interpolation there in that
Well,
is not
early-
something that
early
Tacitus
2nd
actually
century.
wrote. Because
Early
again,
2nd
he
century.
wouldn't be looking at any kind of crucifixion record and seeing that Pilate was a procurator when they didn't even have procurators in Judea, and he wouldn't have been looking at a crucifixion record and seeing that they crucified Christ, because that's the title, not a name, and he also wouldn't have been looking at the word Christians, which was used earlier than the 11th century manuscript, which is what we have today, and said that they got their name from Christ. Also, the word Christians, which he uses, is a term that we see in Latin in a Roman inscription called CILVI 24944, which at least some scholars are aware of. Very few, but some scholars are aware of it. And that dates between 16 BCE and 37 CE. So no, this is not some group that got their name from Christ or Jesus.
Well, many historians do think that Christ just refers to Christ, so they all
I mean, I'm
agree.
aware that that Christus line refers to Jesus, but I'm saying that it's not something that Tacitus wrote. That's the point. It's something that is riddled with errors that Tacitus wouldn't have made, and it's pretty clear that it was added later. Tertullian, the first Christian to read Latin or the write in Latin that we know of, in 200, he makes an allusion to this record by saying, or to Tacitus's book, by saying, consult your history books. We were blamed for the fire in Rome, and then we were tortured and everything. He's trying to say that they were being persecuted, but he never mentions anything about Tacitus saying anything about Jesus. That line doesn't get mentioned until the early 5th century, which is actually after when Eusebius came up with the Testimonium Flavianum from Josephus. So it kind of makes sense that in the 4th century, the Christians were really, really, really trying to insert Jesus into history.
Well, then again, all the letters of Paul, that's history. I mean, we take that as history anyway. So
I mean, you take it as history. It sounds like you take a lot of things as history, but where's
most
the
people
evidence that
take
Paul
it-
was writing in the 1st century?
most people take it as history. I mean, even outside of the Bible, historians
Sweet.
that
I
are
don't give
not
two
even
shits.
Christian.
No one outside of Christianity back then even mentions Paul. So, I mean, if I don't give two shits about whether or not a historian today takes it as history, they're just trusting the church. The church says Paul existed, so they just trust him. There's no evidence whatsoever that Paul existed outside of the church. Not once. Not once in like the 1st or 2nd century or anything like that do we see any evidence of Paul or Shaul. In fact,
What do you think about
Go ahead.
first? What do you think about first?
I don't know what you're saying.
The first epistle of Clementus. What do you think
What
about
about it?
that?
What about it? What about it? Man, okay, he's off.
Hold on. I'm just trying to get my notes together because
But what about First Clement?
well he 1st century. He wrote in the 1st century
He did
about
not. We don't have any evidence that he did. Yeah, he did say Clementus, which I guess works. I guess.
well he about Jesus.
Man, I can't hear you when you're off the app. Just read real quick, memorize what you're looking at, and then come back.
Well this talks about Paul. So he did
Okay.
wrote 30 years within 30 years of Paul's death. So
No, the only reason that it's dated to 90s is because of a misunderstanding of the persecution of Christianity through Emperor Domitian in the 90s. But it's been pretty roundly debunked, pretty soundly debunked, I guess, not to say, that Domitian even persecuted the Christians. He didn't do that. He persecuted the Jewish people, not the Christians. He didn't have anything to do with the Christians there in the 90s. Not to mention, nowhere in Clement does it actually say anything about being written in the 90s. Doesn't even say anything about being written by Clement. They just assume that it's talking about Domitian because the Christians say they were persecuted by Domitian, and at the beginning of Clement, it just says bad things just happened to us. That's all it says. It doesn't say anything about Domitian or violence or persecution or really anything.
okay.
Yep.
Well,
So
that's
it's like very, very, very tenuously dated to the 90s. Like it's like it's just wishful thinking that it's in the 90s. Doesn't even make any sense.
well that's what the text says. I mean,
I understand,
that's
but
the
nowhere in the
opinion.
text does it say it's written in the 90s, and it doesn't even say that it's written by Clement. In fact, the first time that we get anybody mentioning it is Hegesippus and Irenaeus in 180.
Well, I'm referencing to modern scholars and modern
I'm aware, but
historians.
modern scholars are now aware, like M. David Litva, who places the letter of Clement sometime between 150 to 170. They are now aware that the claims before of it being written in the 90s are bullshit, because they're based off of something that isn't in the text, and even if it is connected to that thing didn't happen because Domitian didn't persecute the Christians. It's not explicitly stated in the text that it has anything to do with Domitian, but people think that it might, and that Domitian persecuted the Christians. But that's already a problem because he didn't persecute the Christians. So even if it does talk about Domitian, it's still wrong.
What do you think about Ignatius of Antioch?
Do you mind if I speak to him for a
Antioch.
moment and then you can
I
keep
think
your response?
I think you're
I have-
talking about. Proof, are you
Ignatius
talking to
of
me, or are you
Antioch.
talking to the guest?
I was asking the guest if he mind if I just spoke for a moment because I have to go.
Okay. What do you got, Proof?
All right. So basically, in the beginning, there was the original Most High. His name was El Elyon.
Cool.
And
This doesn't
his
have anything
name-
to do with Jesus and Paul. Let's skip ahead to that part.
I'm going into it. So basically, Jesus is actually Loki. Like he merged with Baal.
Yeah, that's
And,
not a thing
El
at all, man. Do you
Elyon-
have any evidence that Jesus existed, or are you just up here to just
Well,
kind of
if you
say
read-
some weird
if-
shit?
No, he doesn't exist as who people think he is. He
Okay.
existed as a different name. If you read the King James Bible, it
Why would
says
I do that?
Jesus is Lord. Well, you wouldn't want to, but that's what people read now.
No,
because,
well, I don't give a shit about the King James Bible. I give a shit about like the earliest codices, like Codex Vaticanus, Codex Pisae, Codex
Yeah.
Sinaiticus. These texts in specific record the name as like Isu or like with nomina sacra there. So, I mean, it has
So-
nothing to do with Baal.
So, what Bible do you read? Well, that's what I was saying. In the new, the King James, it says.
I don't know why you
Jesus is
keep
Lord.
appealing
Like,
to the King James. I don't care.
well, I'm just trying to make a point because Lord means
Why?
Baal.
Because that
So
has
it-
nothing to do with this. And also, Lord does not necessarily mean that. I mean, are
It
you saying
does
like
when it's in
Baal,
all
like that's
capitals.
like a title or something? Like, okay.
It's Molech. Well,
No.
same person.
No. In fact, it's
Promise
pretty
you.
clear that the first gospel that was published doesn't have anything to do with Molech. That's dumb as shit. Jesus
Yeah,
is
I know.
actually the son of God
This
the
was added
Father.
in the King James Bible.
Yeah, I don't care about the King James Bible. It sounds like you're just kind of kooky and you're on some weird anti-King James like conspiratory
No,
kind of bullshit.
all right. So have you read? What's the oldest Bible that you've read?
Codex Sinaiticus.
All right, is that like the original like
It's the
Torah
oldest- It's not.
So
Why are you saying
I have
Torah?
the Sefer Bible.
What the fuck
and-
are you talking
and
about, dude?
Ethiopian Bible.
Jesus isn't in the Torah, dude.
I'm sorry, the original like Sefer Bible or the Jewish translation with the original
No, man.
ancient names.
Codex Sinaiticus is the oldest Greek manuscript that we have.
So does that have like Yahuwah and Yahusha in it?
No, because that wouldn't make any fucking sense. It's written in Greek.
Yeah, so that's my point. So like the Greeks, the Greeks,
The New
the-
Testament was written in Greek first. It was not written in Aramaic
Yeah,
or Hebrew.
yeah.
So you're just kind of
I
saying
know,
shit.
I know. No, because basically the Greeks, right? Their whole thing and how everything was explained and everything happened is just the same thing as like the Vikings and how they explained everything and how it happened.
I don't even know what
It's
you're talking
all the
about. What do you
same-
mean by the Greeks?
So like the Titans, the same thing. They have
No,
the Titan.
you're just you
Achaemenid,
are
or
way
whatever it's
off the
called.
deep end, man. This has nothing to do with them.
There's Zeus, like who they call Zeus, Poseidon.
Cool.
These are
Zeus,
just all
Zeus, Poseidon, and the Titans are not in the New Testament, even in the Greek. You're you're
I know,
way
I'm
off
trying
the
to
deep end.
I'm just trying to explain to you something that the Greeks had first dibs on writing stuff. So this is all just like rehashed.
That doesn't even
in
make
different
any
names.
sense.
It does. They rehashed
It doesn't.
into
What do you mean first
Christianity.
dibs on writing things? And what do you mean the
So
Greeks?
when the
You haven't
all right, so when
explained
the
who the
Romans-
Greeks are.
all right, so they actually had a temple of Zeus, and that was
Who?
destroyed, and
Like just
the
Greek
Temple of
people in
Zeus,
general?
yeah.
Yeah, there's temples of Zeus all over the place. That doesn't mean anything.
so it was like a main one right outside of Rome. That got destroyed when Christianity was
What does that
taken
have
over.
to do
But
with
beside-
what does that have to do with the oldest codex of the New Testament?
I'm trying to explain to you is that so this is all the same stuff, Jeep, just rehashed with different names.
No.
It's the same. It's the same gods,
No.
same names.
No.
I mean, different names, and they're inserting themselves into different texts.
No.
Like Jesus. So do you know? Yeah, Jesus. All right. So if you read the Sefer Bible or the Ethiopian Bible,
Don't give two
you would
shits.
read-
I went older than that. I don't give any flying fucks about like what you're talking about later on.
Well,
And I don't think
so
that you
Greek
read the
goes
Ethiopian Bible
before-
because I don't think you speak the his language.
No, it's translated into English. It's one time over.
Okay, cool. Well, again, I don't give a shit about English translations, and I don't give a shit about the Ethiopian Bible. I'm talking about the oldest things that we have.
All right, I'm just trying to get to a feel for where you're at, so just bear with me for a moment.
Yeah, so you've
Did
bought into
you-
a conspiracy theory based off of later things. You are completely
No, it's not a
incorrect.
conspiracy.
Yes, it is.
It's-
Because you kept
Well,
bringing
you're
up
not
the
even
King
letting me
James
tell you.
version of the Bible, and that shows me that you're
Yeah,
not
'cause
actually
it's-
like
that-
someone who is
that's
studying what the
completely-
actual context of it is. If
No,
you're talking
I've
about
read
something that shows up
every
like in the
Bible.
1500s.
No, man, I'm just talking about it because that Bible's like cursed. It's like literally, words have been changed like thousands and thousands
Fantastic,
of times
and
in
you're
that
thinking
Bible.
that that's like paramount to your point, and that's the
All right,
problem.
so what I'm trying to get to is that all right, so I have the Sefer Bible right here, right? This is one of the
Don't give a
Bibles that
shit.
have.
I go older
In
than
this,
that.
Okay, so in the Sefer Bible, right
I don't
before,
care about that. I
um,
go older than that. You're gonna have to point out something older than that.
Okay, so what? Your Greek goes before the Romans ripped it apart?
Yeah, dude, because the Codex Sinaiticus dates to the 3rd century. Like, what you're possibly referring to is maybe the Council of Trent or something. So I don't know.
You would know this then if you read the older one. You would know this. Like
I don't
understand what's the
think
big deal.
you have any clue as to what
Because
you're
this-
talking about.
I know. I'm trying to get to the point. I know. I'm telling you. Just hear me out for a second.
Okay, so
So-
you're gonna have to tie in the Greek Codex of the New Testament with all this bullshit that you're talking about here.
All right. So I haven't read in Greek, but I'm just
All right,
trying
so
to make
you're
a
looking
point
at
here.
something later, and you're looking at the English translation of something later, and you're saying this means that
Let me
it's something
just spit
crazy
this
from
out,
the
and then you
Greeks.
can take it however you want. So in the Sefer Bible, right before Mary gives birth, all right, Nero, he's actually thought
Nero
to be
doesn't
an
make
angel
any
because-
sense.
Not Nero. I'm sorry, Caesar.
Which Caesar?
He's Caesar who sent King what's his name to get the firstborn son? King
Caesar
Herod-
doesn't
Herod?
send anybody to go get the
Yeah,
firstborn son.
Yes, he does. He sends King Herod.
All right, cool, man. All right, so do you have anything else, man?
But- Yeah, I just want to tell you this real quick. So basically, it tells you right before they're born.
All right,
it
man. You
says
need to actually
Yahusha
like
and
read some
Jesus,
text as opposed to some later
and they're-
weird conspiracy theory
They're
bullshit.
twins.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. All right, back to Ride PSP. That guy is way off the deep end.
Hey, I was trying to give you more context. So,
Okay. What you got?
there's the what if you're familiar with the Galileo inscription,
Yep.
which
Gallio is mentioned
covered-
in Acts, is not mentioned in the Pauline epistles.
it validates Acts 18:12.
Oh, it does?
Which,
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay,
because
cool.
it
Yeah, so does the
states-
Gallio inscription say anything about Paul?
Can I just finish?
Does Gallio inscription say anything about Paul?
It states Paul was brought to trial in
The Gallio
Corinth.
inscription says that?
Yeah, it does. It
Okay,
says
cool.
that it.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out. So the Delphi inscription or the Gallio inscription, whatever the fuck you want to call it, you can actually take a look at what it says. I'm going to read the entire thing to you and show you that it doesn't say anything about what the fuck you're talking about. Tiberius Claudius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, invested with tribunican power for the 12th time, acclaimed imperator for the 26th time, father of the fatherland. For a long time have I been not only well disposed towards the city of Delphi, but also solicitous for its prosperity, and I have always guarded the cult of Bithynian Apollo. But now, since it is said to be destitute of citizens, as L. Junius Gallio, mentioned the Gallio, my friend and proconsul recently reported to me, and being desirous that Delphi should retain intact its former rank, I order you to invite well-born people also from other cities to Delphi as new inhabitants. In no way, shape, or form does this mention Paul or anything from Acts. Congratulations.
Well, this fragment, stone inscription,
Uh-huh.
presents a letter from Emperor Claudius
Yeah,
regarding
that's what I
the
fucking read, dude.
right,
Nowhere in there does it say anything about Paul.
but it explicitly mentions his friend Julius Gallio. Okay,
Yeah,
his
dude,
friend.
because
What we're
Gallio is a
talking
real
about,
person, and he's
his
mentioned
right.
multiple times
That's
by
his
his younger
friend.
brother Seneca, who had a
That's
supposed
Paul's friend.
lifetime
That's
of
what I'm
the
trying to
same
say.
Paul, or this Paul, or whatever. And Seneca writes letters to a whole bunch of different people, or a whole bunch of different like fake people, I guess, or at least one fake person, but it's a whole bunch of different letters. It's 127. It's called Moral Epistles, which is probably where they get the idea for Paul, this character, to write letters. It's fake. It's not a real thing. But nowhere in this Gallio inscription, and I read the entire thing, do we have any mention of Paul. I'm aware that there is a real person who is mentioned in Acts. Cool. Barack Obama is mentioned in the Amazing Spider-Man comics. That doesn't,
Okay,
and
but
this is true,
it validates
mean
Acts
shit.
18:12
No, it
because
doesn't.
he was brought to trial.
Sweet. Does it say
in
anything in
court.
the inscription that Gallio saw Paul in a trial?
It does mentions it. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go right back to the text. I want you to point out the line in this inscription that says anything about the trial of Paul.
Well, you're the expert. You should point it out.
Yeah, and I pointed out that it doesn't say shit about it. I don't think you read it. You just saw some AI description that mentioned that Gallio proves Acts or proves Paul, and you just jumped to that conclusion. It doesn't say shit about Paul.
It does. It does
No, it
discuss.
doesn't. Do you need me to read this entire inscription again because it doesn't say anything about Paul? I don't know what to tell you, man. You just fell for it. You fell for a hallucination from AI at best.
No, that's your opinion, but
No, my opinion is that the word Paul isn't in the inscription.
Well, that's not what the historians conclude. So
no,
I mean,
the historians do not include. The historians do not conclude that this inscription says anything about Paul because it doesn't.
Well,
there's
the
not
majority
a single.
of historians
No,
agree.
there's not a single historian who says that Paul is included in this inscription. There's not a single historian who says it. In fact, I will take down my entire live and remove the book from Amazon. The book Christ Before Jesus, by the way, which goes over this kind of shit. I will take it down if you DM me proof that a historian says that Paul is mentioned in the Gallio inscription. Ridiculous. Dumb as shit. It took you that long to read a AI hallucination and just fall for it? You didn't look at it at all, did you?
Well, it sounds like you're just making opinions. So.
No, I just read a text to you. You're the one giving an opinion. I'm giving an actual fact. It doesn't say anything about Paul in there.
Well, I guess.
You know, you don't guess. I just know, and you know as well, because we read it, and I had it up on the screen. You didn't see shit about Paul in there, did you?
Well, you read it like really, really fast. So
okay, well, we'll try it again. Tiberius Claudius Caesar Augustus Germanicus invested with tribunican power for the 12th time. Have you heard the word Paul? Have you heard the word Paul yet? Have you heard it, buddy? Did you need me to read that slower for you?
Well, you just read one section of it.
Okay. Have you heard the word Paul yet? We're going to move to the second section.
Well, read the whole thing then for your audience.
Acclaimed imperator for the 26th time, father of the fatherland, for a long time have I been not only well disposed towards the city of Delphi, but also solicitous for its prosperity, and I have always guarded the cult of the Pythian Apollo. But now, since it is said to be destitute of citizens, as L. Junius Gallio, my friend and proconsul, recently reported to me, and being desirous that Delphi should retain intact its former rank, I order you to invite well-born people, also from other cities, to Delphi as new inhabitants. Did you hear the name Paul?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's because it wasn't fucking in there. That's how that works. So I guess the Gallio inscription doesn't say what you've been trying to say that it's said for about the last 10 minutes. Your claim that historians claim that Paul is in there was pulled out of your ass.
I guess, man.
You can just admit that you don't know what you're talking about. It's okay. There is no shame in saying, I don't know. But when you try to make claims that you just make up, I'm going to call those out.
Well, then what do you explain Paul's letters? They just magically, somebody
No.
just magically wanted to write it?
I mean, sort of, kind of, in the sense that any text someone just wants to write. What do you think? Harry Potter,
Okay, then I
like
guess,
J.K. Rowling just magically wanted to write
right.
Harry Potter?
Right, then I guess we'll just call history a lie because all history was written by dead men, right? We don't know any evidence that these people actually existed. So
Yeah,
I mean,
we do. In fact, for Gallio, the way that we know that Gallio existed is because of this
I'm just telling
inscription.
you.
Because this is an actual inscription that dates to that time
Right,
period.
that's what I'm trying to say.
Listen.
I'm giving you your logic here.
Listen. We can date Gallio to this time period because this is an inscription. Do you have anything of the sort that dates to the lifetime of Paul or Jesus that mentions Paul or Jesus?
It doesn't have to mention
Okay,
it
cool.
directly.
So we have this level of evidence for Gallio, but you're saying because Jesus is down here under that and Paul is down here under this, if we can't meet this, then Gallio is just fake. No, that's not how that works. That's not how that works at all. We can tell that Gallio's a real person. We don't have shit for Paul or Jesus. So when I say we don't have when I say that Jesus or Paul didn't exist, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that we just can't know all of history. You're just pulling that out of your ass again. We can tell when certain people existed. But Jesus and Paul, we don't have anything that even comes close to the standard that we have for Gallio. In fact, we have other things for Gallio. We have things from his actual brother.
Hold on. Can I add on to something?
Sure. Go ahead and reach back up elbow deep into the chocolate starfish and show us all what you found.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Whatever. The James Ossuary. What do you think about that? What do you think
an
about
ossuary? Is that what you're saying?
No, James Ossuary. I think that's how you pronounce it. Ossuary. Discovered in Israel, 1st century, limestone box. Bears in a aromatic inscription reading, James, son of Joseph, brother of Jesus.
Cool. So are you not aware that the person who found that actually was convicted of fraud in court? Are you not aware of that?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Well, can you give me some evidence on that?
Yeah, go ahead and look it up. And also it's pronounced ossuary. You can look that up on your own time. I'm not diving into court records on that.
It's authenticity. Yeah, no, you're
Anyways,
partially
man, do
right.
you have anything else? Do you have anything else?
Well, all I'm saying is you can't just dismiss
liars. Yeah, I can. Do you have anything else?
Well, you cannot dismiss that a
liars?
person didn't exist. Because
yeah, I
at
can.
The end of the day,
I can because the information that is given, the information that is given in the New Testament doesn't even line up with itself. It contradicts itself. Like, what year do you think Jesus was born in?
We don't have any record of when exactly he was born.
Do the Gospels try to tell you when he was born?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
No.
So whenever this says, in the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea,
right? But you
or
said
right over here when it says that
date.
Jesus is born while they're
exactly.
while Joseph and Mary are in Bethlehem for the purpose of a census that was taken while Quirinius is the governor of Syria. It's not trying to tell you when Jesus was born.
It gives you some detail, but you don't. You ask me what year and what date. I don't know the date or year. It doesn't
who is
give you
the
that.
king? Who is the king of Judea whenever Jesus was born?
We just read it.
So King Herod?
I guess, yeah.
You
That's what the
guess,
text
or
says.
is this incorrect? Is this potentially
Well, that's what
wrong,
the
or is it
text.
true?
That's what the text says. I mean, I
Okay, so
can't.
does that make it
I
true?
cannot
Does that make it
magically
true?
say it doesn't. It doesn't necessarily make it a lie either. I
Okay.
mean,
So I'm going to ask
that's
you this question one more time. Try to be intellectually honest, all right? For the first time in this conversation. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea. So in other words, King Herod is still alive after Jesus is born. Do you believe that to be true?
I believe that's what they wrote. Yeah.
I didn't ask that, did I? Do you
Well,
believe it to be true?
of course, yeah.
Okay. So King Herod, do you know when King Herod dies?
Nope.
Okay. King Herod dies in 4 BCE. All right? That's why most people, if you look up when Jesus was born, they'll give you a range of about 6 to 4 BCE, centering in or averaging in around 5 BCE. Because when Herod goes through and tries to unalive a whole bunch of kids, he ends up unaliving kids that are like less than 2 in and around Bethlehem who are 2 years old or under.
Right.
All right. But then at the end of the text, he dies. Herod died. An angel of the Lord suddenly appeared to dream in Joseph in Egypt while he was hiding out there and said, "Get up and take the child and his mother and go to the land of Israel, for those who are seeking the child's life are dead." But when he, Joseph, heard that Archelaus was ruling Judea in place of his father Herod, so in other words, Herod Archelaus is Herod the Great's son. Do you understand that?
Sure.
Yes or no?
Yeah, it just says, yeah.
Okay. So he reigns after Herod dies, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the problem. In Luke 2, it says, "In those days a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration and was taken while Quirinius was governor of Syria." He starts being governor and takes a census that we know about in 6 CE or in 6 AD. That's 10 years after Herod the Great dies. In fact, Quirinius, the governor of Syria, takes over after Herod Archelaus, who reigns at the end of Matthew 2, is disposed of. He is banished. And that's when Quirinius, the governor of Syria, starts taking over for the purpose of a census. And unfortunately for you, Quirinius is taking this census, and they're taking part in it, and Joseph goes with Mary, who is expecting a child. So Jesus isn't even born yet, and we are 10 years removed from the death of Herod, which happens, according to Matthew, after Jesus is born. So, according to the New Testament, Jesus is born a minimum of 10 years before Jesus is born. How's that possible?
Well, things are written at the moment. Or maybe they just didn't write it correctly. I don't know.
Okay.
You're claiming? I mean,
you already
there's
said because it's in the
everywhere.
book, then it's true. So I guess
I'm saying,
somehow he's
I
born 10
never
years before
said-
he's born?
I never said it's completely everything 100% accurate.
Then
What
how
I'm
did you
trying to say
determine which
is-
one of these is false?
What I'm saying is,
How did you
there's-
determine which one is false and which one is true? How did you determine anything is true or anything is false out of the Bible? If some of it can be inaccurate, how did you determine that some of the New Testament, some of the gospel story is true when talking about Jesus? How did you determine that?
Based on just
Feelings?
the evidence.
Your gut?
First of all, the evidence
What evidence?
points to him.
What
like
evidence?
The evidence that the scriptures. Okay, the
Okay,
scriptures.
well, no, you already said that the
written-
scriptures can be wrong. How did you determine the scriptures were
I
correct?
didn't say they were wrong. I did.
No,
I didn't
okay.
say-
So what happens here? How was Jesus born 10 years minimum before Jesus is born? You just said that it's
What I'm s-
possible that they got it incorrect.
Look, sometimes
Is that
people.
true? Did you actually say that?
Back in those days, people write based
Sweet.
on what they
So
can.
could they get it incorrect? Yes or no?
Could they get it? Of course.
Okay.
just
So
like
how did you
anything
determine
else.
the other parts were true? How did you determine the other parts of the scriptures were true?
I mean, you're claiming that you're right. correct?
How did
in
you
your
determine that the other parts were true?
Like I said, based on evidence of people that
Like
were
what?
present at that time.
Like who?
They
Like
write
who?
the scriptures.
Who?
Like all these people wrote.
Who?
Okay,
Who
I
is
don't
someone
think
who
they
was present
wrote
at the time
live.
who wrote?
I mentioned all these people.
Who
okay?
is some? Name
you're
me
claiming
one
these people
name
were
from
alive.
someone at the time who saw Jesus and was present and was able to write. Name me one name.
I just mentioned those names.
Who? Give me a name.
Josephus.
Josephus was not alive when Jesus died. He was
He
born in
was.
37.
No, he was alive. That's why he
No.
wrote it.
Josephus was born in 37. Do you think Jesus was crucified after 37?
I mean, I guess not. But that's your claim. That's your interpretation.
No,
of
Josephus was
the
born in
fact.
37. So do you think that he was there to see Jesus, who was crucified under Pilate, who was dismissed in 36?
Where do you get that evidence that he was born in 37?
From Josephus himself?
Okay, show me.
Josephus was born 37 in Jerusalem.
Right. That's an AI overview.
This has him born in 36. It's still at the end. When do you think that Jesus was crucified? Do you think it happened in 36? You think Josephus was there? You think little newborn Josephus saw the crucifixion of Jesus? So started writing it down? Is that what you think?
I guess not.
Yeah. You talking out your ass again? You tend to do that a lot.
I mean, what? I'm trying to understand your point. Look,
Okay, well,
you
my
claim
point
that
is that the
Jesus
Bible very clearly
is-
contradicts itself, and so therefore the Jesus that's presented is impossible. So therefore the Jesus that's presented in the New Testament did not exist. Now, you want to say, well, some of it's incorrect or can be incorrect, and other parts are correct, but I'm trying to figure out how you determine what parts are correct, like how you got that.
No. Look, your point is you said Jesus and Paul never existed, right? That's your
Yeah.
point.
As in, the natural Jesus and Paul, as presented by the New Testament, did not exist. If
let's
you want to
put
say a
the-
guy
let's
named
put the
Jesus existed,
scriptures-
like someone
no,
else who
let's
doesn't have
put
anything to do with the New Testament,
all I'm
sure.
trying to, look, listen. All I've been trying to do is put the Bible aside because you don't believe in the Bible, right? You don't believe in the scriptures, correct? So I'm
When
trying
did
to
I
say,
say I didn't believe in the Bible? What I'm saying is
Okay,
that Jesus
well,
of the New
this is what I've
Testament,
been-
Jesus of
No,
the
no,
New
no.
Testament did not exist. That's what I'm saying.
okay, got it. Okay, that's this
So I'm
whole
gonna
point
need
that
to I'm gonna need to
since-
point to the New Testament.
okay,
If the
since-
New Testament doesn't even line up with itself, then I guess that
But
character
we-
can't exist, right?
Okay, but listen, when I came in, I did not even went into the scripture, did I?
Yeah,
I went
congratulations.
outside of the
You went into
scripture.
other things that I very quickly dismissed, and
I've
then you
just
started
been-
pulling more
I've been
stuff out of your
trying to
ass.
I've been trying to point out that there's people that wrote about Jesus,
Like who?
even if these texts,
Who? Who?
do not explicitly.
Who?
I just mentioned it.
No,
There's
you
many
didn't.
even
You
historians.
tried to say that
nowadays,
Josephus actually saw it. That's the last claim that you made.
No,
And
I
then you had to
said
back
they-
down whenever we found out that Josephus, at best, was a newborn the year that Pilate was dismissed in 36. So I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you just kind of make claims, and then you try to gaslight and try to say that you made other claims. You haven't given me anything from somebody who was actually there and saw this stuff. You haven't given me a name at all. You also tried to say that Gallio, the Gallian inscription, mentions Paul. We had to read that thing twice to show you that it didn't. And you saw it the first time. You just didn't want to admit it.
Okay, what do you think about Tatius?
I don't even know what the fuck you're trying to say.
Tacitus was a Roman
We
historian.
already talked about that.
Right.
Yep.
And you said
Mm-hmm.
that, oh, no, he doesn't mention Jesus by name. He mentions Christus.
I said that was interpolated later into because Tertullian, writing in 200, doesn't even mention that Tacitus says anything about Jesus, and when he alludes to the text, it doesn't get mentioned till the 5th century because it was likely added in the 4th, which is when we actually see the Testimonium Flavianum that you also brought up, first being mentioned by Eusebius. So in the 4th century is when the Christians are starting to lie about their shit. I mean, Eusebius is an admitted liar in the early 4th century. Christianity has the right to proselytize in 312 with the Edict of Milan, and it becomes the official religion of the entire Roman Empire in 380. So it makes sense that the 4th century would be the biggest century for the most bullshit. That's why also you see Epiphanius, a late 4th century writer that tries to say a whole bunch of different shit for Jesus. Same thing as like Jerome. It's a whole bunch of different claims. In fact, Epiphanius says that the first Christian monks were the Therapeutae in the early 1st century who were written about in 20. So the first Christian monks existed before Jesus's ministry started? Like, it's dumb as shit, dude. Like, nah, man. They're just making it up.
Mr. Christ before Jesus, I don't know your name. Can I just cut in for a while?
Yep. Go ahead.
I am a new Christian, and also I'm an open-minded guy. And you are very smart. I just want to say you are very smart. I believe in Christ and Jesus and everything, but
Okay.
like when you said in the New Testament or something, I gotta research these things as well.
Okay.
Because on Psalms there is a prophecy of Jesus, but
Yeah,
like you
there's
said,
not, but keep going.
there is his name was not mentioned. There was a prophecy about the crucifixion and everything, but his name wasn't mentioned.
It
on
says
Psalms.
crucifixion in Psalms.
Yeah, but
It does not. Crucifixion wasn't.
I can't remember which part, but it's about someone will be how to say, I can't remember. I'm not really good with my brain, but there's a chapter that says something about the crucifixion. Someone will be nailed and spit on.
No, also that's not true either. Nailed is not. No. It's
okay.
What you're trying to refer to is where dogs bite and pierce hands.
Yes. That's the pierce hands and
nails,
everything.
It's not cross. Doesn't mention Jesus. Doesn't mention Messiah.
That is very true as well. I agree.
David, so no.
So I'm really an open-minded guy, but do you do content as well?
I mean, I'm doing content.
Because you are very smart. So I think you should challenge like this apologetics and Dawa guys. They might know the answer, or you might defeat them as well. And if you do a video out of it, I would really like to see which side, because I like to learn these things.
Well, set it up. Reach out to him and tell him, hey, go talk to that cowboy on TikTok.
Yeah, it seems that I can't really reach this God logic or something, this type of guys. But I think you might be able to reach them.
Maybe.
Yeah, because my style is I'm an open-minded guy. I like to see the truth. And like you said, now it makes me think as well. It's kind of true. That's not really the name, or I don't really see Paul as well. But I just put my faith at the moment. And my belief is generation to generation past.
I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
By what I mean is, let's say the people with Jesus, Peter, Mark, Luke, Matthew, and everyone who was with him, and the generation story passed down to a new generation and generation after that as well. Isn't that like proof enough?
Yeah.
Or not enough?
No, I guess. No, I don't. I think maybe you're trying to insinuate that like stories were passed down and then written down or something, but we don't have any evidence of that.
Okay. That's
like
good to know. I have to do a lot of research then.
If you ever heard of the concept of the God of the Gaps, it's basically like we don't know something, so therefore God. Same thing happens here. People go, we don't know how they suddenly get these stories decades later.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of true as well. How did Zeus and all this Greek god exist as well? We don't really know actually. That's actually a smart idea. I have to research this. But if you ever, I'm gonna follow you because you're a really smart guy with an open mind. Are you a believer or are you an atheist or something? So
I'm a believer that Jesus and Paul didn't exist.
you're a believer, but you just don't believe that Jesus and Paul doesn't exist.
If that's what you got out of what I just said, then sure.
Okay, sounds good enough. At least you're a believer as well. But doesn't a lot of historians and even atheists, historians, scientists, or something believe that Jesus exists?
Why do I care? I just look at the evidence.
What about the cave that was Jesus' tombstone? What I mean, his tomb.
And there's 3 different tombs in Jerusalem alone. There's one in Japan and one in Pakistan. It doesn't mean shit.
Doesn't mean anything as well, is it?
Why would it?
Okay. It was really nice chatting with you. So I gotta go and do something as well. I gotta do my performance and stuff. So good luck, and you're really smart. I really like you.
I like you.
Yeah. Hopefully you get the challenge like this apologetics, like God Logic or something. I like God Logic. I think he might able to challenge you, or he might not. I don't know.
We'll find out.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I'll be off then.
Thanks.
Yeah, I also gotta go, man.
All
It was nice.
All right. If there's any other evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. Let's see. There's a poll on TikTok. Let me see what the poll is. Which tomb is there? Oh no, they started the tomb one. Okay, he wasn't real. Oh, the one in Japan. There are 5 different tombs that claim that they're from Jesus, or the tomb of Jesus. There's 3 in Jerusalem, 1 in Pakistan, and 1 in Japan. Come on. Just because you find an empty tomb, or just because you have something with a sign outside that says that Jesus was here, doesn't mean that Jesus was here. That's not how that works. What's up? We got, let me see here. For some reason, it's not. There it goes. We got Present Moment 2025.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
So, yeah, I just want to circle back to one of the discussions you were having earlier. Do you believe
really quick, because that sounds like it's just going to rehash some old stuff. But give me 1 second here. We got some super chats really fast. I got to get to. Let's see, $1.99 from the Prototype 1619 that just says "You people." Queef, ridiculous. All right, well, here we go. We're getting a little closer to that 100. And then we've got Resting Op Face $5 says classic fairy tales, Beauty and the Queef. Oh my God, Snow White and the 7 Queefs, the 3 little queefs, the princess and the queen, and the Bible. Wow, actually, that one actually didn't get changed. I don't know how that. How did you have the? You know what? I'm not gonna say anything. That's 3 though. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. All right. And then $4.99 from Adam Brown says, "We are knights who say, oh, queef, queef, or whatever Monty Python said." Also, oh hi, Mark. All right. $5 from Lewis says, "No amount of info can't enter, or can't enter this caller's brain. Just hang up, man." Yeah, I know. It was like talking to a Ferris wheel. $5 there from Zeno Lapudre. Thank you very much. Says, "I don't want to run out the queef counter. Christ Bofa Jesus. Hashtag Bofa for now. Hashtag read these chats." There's at least 1 in there. All right. We are now up to 1, let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 98. We now have 98. You animals have 2 more opportunities to say that word before it gets banned. So congratulations. You have broken a human man. All right. Present Moment 2025. You said that you wanted to get back to some things that some other caller had talked about, I guess.
Let's just I guess I'll address this. Do you believe in the existence of Alexander the Great or Julius Caesar? Do you believe in their existence?
Yes.
You do?
Yep.
Okay, well, I mean, they also had delayed biographies and recordings of their lifetime. Comprehensive biographies were
Why
written
do I
centuries.
care about the biographies of them?
Well, what proof do you have that he existed?
The Babylonian astronomical diary and coins, busts, and statues dating to Julius Caesar's lifetime? Like, what? Why the fuck do I care about biographies?
Pardon? What's
Why
your
the fuck
evidence?
would I care about biographies?
Because
The Babylonian astronomical diary dates to the lifetime of Alexander the Great and mentions his death, and then the coins, busts, statues that all have Julius Caesar's face, which is how we know what the fuck he looked like, date to the time of him. So why do I care about later stories? Who gives a shit?
well, I guess like it was also like it was common to have delayed biographies written.
I don't
and,
care
like,
about biographies.
well, how do you know about it? Like you can't know about those people.
Yeah, you can,
Outside
because
of
it
that.
says their fucking names. Why? I don't give a shit about what they did. You just asked me if they existed. You didn't ask me, oh, did they do X, Y, and Z? You just asked me if they existed, and yes, I believe that they existed.
So I mean, but so then you understand that it is a common practice for historians to have delayed biographies.
Sure,
and
I don't care.
So we agree. So like there's
And not to
so
mention the biographies of both Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar cite their sources, and they tell us who they are and when they're writing. In fact, we actually have fragments of historians from Alexander the Great who talk about his life. It's just fragments, but it's not the complete biographies or anything like that. And these are the same people who get cited later on by the full, complete biographies that we have. We actually, as well, have mentions of Alexander the Great in Maccabees, which comes out about 100 years after the death of him. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious that these people existed, and we actually do have contemporary evidence for them. In some cases, from biographies that we just ended up losing, which is like the people who get cited by later biographies. What the Gospels don't do is cite their sources or even tell you who's fucking writing it. They don't say when they're writing, who they are, where they got their information. They don't say shit like that. And they include anachronisms, which these texts for like Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar don't have. So, I mean, yeah. And also there's actual contemporary evidence for these figures as well when you look past the biographies. So why do I give two flying fucks about the later anachronistic biographies of Jesus? And when you're off, you have to tell me.
Yeah, no, so like, yeah, there's more supporting evidence, but I mean,
Yeah.
we could agree that based off
A lot
of,
more. And even if we didn't have the biographies, we'd still have it. We'd still have evidence. For Jesus, you're relying on a biography that shows up about 100 years later, or a little over 100 years later, includes anachronisms as well as magic. There's not a single biography of Jesus that doesn't include magic and anachronisms, and or anachronisms. And I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man.
I mean, you said 100 years. We just looked at one existing historian that was born, I guess, like 36 is recorded to be born 36 years later. So when was
What?
when did yeah? Didn't you look at one historian and he was born in 36 AD?
Are you serious right now? Did you
I
not pay
thought that's
attention
what-
to the conversation I had with him?
No, why is that?
Because I said that there was a Christian interpolation into that text, so it doesn't matter anyways.
So it doesn't matter because there is a Christian
Because it was
interpolation?
added later on by a Christian, something was interpolated into that text. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna trust trust a text that has been edited later on by someone who's part of the religion. Why would that suddenly be evidence from this person? Like, if there was evidence from that historian who was born a little bit after Jesus died, that'd be decent. But the problem is the fact that the text that talks about that is something that is added by a later Christian 200 years after the death of that historian. So I don't care.
Yeah. So yeah, you don't care, but
Correct.
okay. So like I mean, you can see like do you think like, yeah, so I guess yeah, I guess I would have to ask you like
Hmm.
um that yeah, I'd have to ask you, so like you just because like like it was common like Jesus at the time had a small ministry. Most of his
What do you mean it
followers
was
were
common?
it was I mean it's common that like that historians and major scholars were not focused on they were focused on wars and different major events and recording those things. So it's like
Okay.
common for like not to have
So now you're just
um,
explaining why we don't have evidence for him that's contemporary. Okay. Well, you started off by
yeah.
saying, "Hey, do these people exist?" Yeah, because we got contemporary evidence, and now you're just explaining why we don't have things for Jesus. Well, okay,
Well,
cool.
well,
Well, you
we
brought
do
up
have
the first two
contemporary.
people. You brought up Julius
We
Caesar
do.
and Alexander the Great. Now you're trying to explain why Jesus isn't on par with them. You tried to compare him to him. Why do I?
Yeah, his
You did
ministry
it.
because Jesus was like ministry was not he yeah, his accomplishments were of a ministry and not of he didn't have the he wasn't a man of the like
Sweet. Then why
elite
did you bring up
elite
someone like that to compare him to? Why
elite
did you
heart
bring up
hierarchy.
Alexander the Great
I
and
mean,
Julius Caesar to
I
compare him
just
to
think
Jesus, only to say that they have nothing in common with him?
just to say that that's how their biographies and historians recorded their
Oh,
existence. It
okay.
was decades later.
So in other
So
words, you just but now you're
it be
explaining why there's not anything on Jesus. Okay, cool. You're explaining why
yeah,
there's
well,
not
there
anything,
is
but he's
it's just
totally
later.
real.
It was we do have contemporary recordings of his life, but they're
Oh, we
written
do.
afterwards,
Who? Well, that's
and that was
I don't
after
know
his
if that's
lifetime.
contemporary. So what? Who writes a contemporary evidence of Jesus? Who's a contemporary who writes about how they saw Jesus?
One second.
Oh man. Well, have fun with that. All right. So, what'd you find in the ways of these contemporaries of Jesus who write about him? I mean, you seemed so sure when you said that we had it.
Yeah, Josephus.
Josephus is not a contemporary. Congratulations, you just named the guy that you were talking about earlier who was born after him. So, not a contemporary. You want to go ahead? Did you say Tacitus as well?
Yeah, I said Tacitus.
Sweet.
And
Born in the
Tacitus.
59, so not a contemporary. So, we're going to go ahead and put that. Got anything else?
Let me. You know what? I'm
Do
gonna
you know what
actually
the word
prepare
contemporary means? Maybe we should start with that.
contemporary. Yeah.
What does
What does that mean?
contemporary mean?
Contemporary means
What is Google telling you that contemporary means?
happening or consistent at the same. So none of them
Yep.
are contemporary.
So, yep.
That's
So
my
you
point.
said we have
That's my point.
contemporaries of Jesus. You just said that they wrote later. They're contemporaries, but they write later, and that's fine. A contemporary who writes later is somebody who was alive at the time, but then wrote later. You haven't named me one.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Who was the writers of? Who was the? Yeah, we. I guess we know. Like the 7 books that Paul wrote that he had written, and like that would be the closest evidence.
And what's
Like
the
that's
evidence that they were written in the first century? Because no material in there talks about the first century.
let me. Yeah, I guess I wasn't well prepared, but I mean, like, so I just wanted to pick apart the fact that you had said, like, we don't have, that all these recordings were happened after, after Jesus' timeline, and so I
Yeah,
wanted to
that's
just
not
like
the reason why we say that he didn't exist. The reason why we say he didn't exist is because not only are they written later, they're filled with a whole bunch of different problems, including anachronisms and magic. They're written in third person omniscient. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to answer to the best of your ability, and preferably without invoking magic. When Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane, he's praying before he gets arrested. What are the disciples doing?
they're sleeping.
So how do they know what he said? Without
Well,
invoking any magic, because Jesus gets arrested immediately and then unalived. How do they know what he said?
yeah, I don't know why I would have to invoke magic. I don't know
Okay,
what
well
that
then
has.
tell me how they know what he said when they were all asleep.
I've been sleeping next to people that like I've been sleeping and then like
And so you
drifting
felt
in.
like you could get up and write a book years later, decades later, about what you heard? Okay, please explain how they heard what he
I
was
guess
saying. And we're
yeah,
even
I
able
guess
to see
you
him,
got it. Yeah,
because it
like
says
there's
like physical things as well. I mean, hell, in Luke
yeah,
it says that an angel comes down and
that
talks to
that's
Jesus.
easy. That's
That they saw that while asleep?
well. Wait,
In Luke, it
so
says that an angel came down while Jesus was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane and the disciples were asleep. Did they see that while they were asleep?
so
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I guess
please
like
explain it.
that's yeah, because it's easy to explain. Like I could be laying there like half asleep and drifting in and out of consciousness, or trying to
He had
sleep
to
and stroke.
walk away from them. So he had to walk. They were a distance away, it says. And so they heard everything he said and saw an angel. By the way, the person who says that he saw an angel wasn't even a disciple. That is Luke, who, according to Christian tradition, is a doctor who travels around with Paul, who also wasn't an eyewitness or a disciple. That's weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. So like, let me
Yeah,
see.
it's
Can we?
almost like these are just fictional books that are just written just to write. They're not really telling a story, man. You just kind of fell for it. You fell for a comic. You fell for a fictional. You fell for Harry Potter. It's just the fact that there's so much time between you and Harry Potter that is filled with a whole bunch of people telling you, "Oh, Harry Potter's real. Harry Potter's real. Harry Potter's real." You just bought into it. That's all it is. You just bought into a fictional story, dude. It's not that big of a deal. Just stop believing it. Didn't happen.
I mean that in itself it doesn't prove to me that
Yeah,
his
it proves that the Gospels are just being made up by the people who are writing it, dude. It's pretty simple. It's called third person omniscient. You're able to hear stories behind closed doors, or hear things, or see things, or know about things that the authors themselves or the main character would not be privy to. Unless you appeal to some kind of magic, the disciples and the authors of these texts would not suddenly know that there was an angel there when everybody else was asleep.
So that's yeah. I guess if I was like thinking if I was
If you were thinking
just
about it, yeah, it sounds pretty bad when you think about it. That's the problem. And that's actually what they don't want you to do. And by they, I mean the people who are trying to push religion onto kids, like here in Texas. Yeah, they would prefer that you not think about it. Just mindlessly follow along with it.
no, I'm just
The
saying
New
like
Testament actually makes a lot more sense the less you think about it.
I just think like if they're like obviously like if once these books were written, once they found somebody and like they had to rely on word of mouth, which was traditional, and so that to gather, the fact that they are
So what word of mouth was spreading around saying, "Oh, this is what Jesus said while we were asleep"?
well, I'm sure like somebody probably did hear Jesus saying
Who?
some things. I'm sure one of the disciples.
No,
like
Jesus gets onto him and says, "You couldn't stay awake for an hour." You think that people were asleep for an hour and Jesus was praying and they heard everything for an hour and were able to remember it while they were asleep? An hour's worth of conversation? Come on, man.
We don't have an hour's worth of conversation written in the gospel.
That's
Like,
what Jesus
yeah.
says. You couldn't stay awake for 1 hour.
Right. And
So
then
I don't know
we
what the
only
fuck to
have,
tell you, man.
and we only have a few paragraphs of what he possibly
It
was
depends
praying.
on how long that angel was there.
Can you show me the text about like he saw an angel? Can we look at that?
Are you not familiar with it?
No, I'm not a scholar.
You're
I've
not
read
familiar with the Bible? I don't think
I've
you have to
read
be a
it.
scholar to read the Bible and know what's in it.
Yeah, I just want to let's like examine that because
What
like
is
I
this
can't.
going to do?
I just want to see like.
Yeah, what's it going to do? Like when we see that an angel is mentioned, what is that going to do? Like, what's that going to do to the story? Is that suddenly going to make you go, okay, yeah, this is so crazy that I'm not going to believe it? Is that what it's going to do?
It said Jesus saw an angel.
Yeah, an angel comes down and like administers to him. What's it going to do when I show you the verse?
Yeah, it's still not going to disprove that.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Jesus
Yeah, so you're just kind of asking for things because you didn't know that was in there, and it sounds ridiculous, but you're still going to believe it even if it's ridiculous. That's what this is telling me right now. You don't actually care about whether or not you believe something that's true. You just like the story. You fell for the comic. You like the Harry Potter story. You like the fictional story. You just bought into it, hook, line, and sinker, and it doesn't matter how ridiculous it is or how fake it is or how ahistorical it is or how fictional it is. You don't care. You just like it.
No, that's not true.
That is true. That is true. You don't care about whether or not this is actually correct.
If you had indefinite evidence that the Bible wasn't true, then it would break. I would have to.
How are you able to be born 10 years before you're born?
So show me the proof on that. What is the proof? What's the evidence?
Herod Archelaus reigns after Herod the Great, correct?
I'm not sure.
That's what Matthew says. Do you not believe it?
Herod Archelaus.
It sounds like you're going to need to go back and read the Bible again, man. Sounds like you haven't even read the Gospels, but you're up here defending them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and disconnect you for right now. Go read your Bible. I'm not going to explain the Gospels to you. To only have to tear them apart. Really quick, let's see. These super chats over here. Let's see. We have Dr. Rajim, $4.99. Thank you very much. Says you can't block queefs. They are making you rich. Actually, no, they're not. As much as you guys think, it is kind of wild how much YouTube decides. That's kind of ours. But let's see. And then $1.99 there from the prototype saying, queef. There's two, but I mean, we already kind of sort of had it. We are now in overtime. Cyber Deconstruction, $1.99. I bequeath upon you. Oh my God. All right, there we go. $2 from Squilkin. It just says queefies. This is awful. I'm so happy that we're getting rid of this thing. Ridiculous. That Real Riverside Food, $2 says queef my limo. So that's another one. And then finally, Matthew Mulkeen, $5 says, does this count for the counter? Entirely odorless because it is just trapped air and not a digestive waste product. I mean, no, it doesn't count, I guess. It's just the description of the medical description, I guess, of it. But congratulations, guys. We made it all the way to 104 over the course of like 3 or 4 days. I think it was just 3 days that we've done this. You guys are monsters. Absolute monsters. Just ridiculous. All right, well, I'm done with it. I hope you guys had fun. Did you finish? Did you have fun? All right. Anyways, BDSW2, what you got?
Uh, that queef's just hilarious. I guess I am asking about because I guess I more or less agree with your thesis about the Jesus of the New Testament not being real.
Okay.
I guess if I did have to challenge anything because I feel like. So, do you believe John the Baptist was a real person?
I am open to the idea that he did not exist.
Okay. Um, but but you're also open to the idea that he did exist.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only asking these because, like, as a outside, as a non-religious person who's kind of just interested in these type of things. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like I know you don't care. I know you don't care, but it seems like mainstream scholarship uh says Jesus was a person that was baptized by John the Baptist and crucified. Is that an accurate description of like
No,
mainstream?
the first gospel that's published didn't even have him
No.
being baptized by Jesus or being baptized by John the Baptist. So it doesn't really, I don't
Oh,
really understand that at all.
okay.
In fact, the
Oh,
Gospel
I
of
mean,
Luke doesn't
I
even have
understand
him
that.
baptized by John the Baptist, and he's supposed to be his cousin in that text.
Okay, so the idea of
Yeah, the
scholars,
Gospel
popular
of Luke
scholars.
says that Jesus and John the Baptist were cousins, but the Gospel of Luke goes on to say it talks about John the Baptist starting his ministry and everything, but it doesn't say that Jesus was baptized
Yeah,
by him. It says John said to the crowds coming out to be baptized, "You brood of vipers, who warned you about the fleet of coming wrath? Blah 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 blah. We have Almighty, the blah blah blah." He doesn't really say anything. And the crowds asked him, "Then what should we do? Whoever has 2 coats must share with anyone who has none." Blah 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 blah. Teacher, what should we do? So it doesn't really say anything about Jesus. I baptize you with water, but one who is more powerful than I is coming. I'm not worthy to untie the strap of his sandals. And then it just says, now when all the people were baptized and Jesus had also had been baptized and was praying, the heaven was open. So it doesn't say anything about how John baptizes him.
it just said that Jesus was baptized.
In fact, what it ends up saying is right here, it says that John goes to prison here. John goes to prison in verse 20, and then Jesus is baptized in verse 21.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like again,
So, I mean,
I'm
the
not a
other
super religious
gospels, there's
person,
other
so
gospels that
those.
obviously say that John baptizes Jesus. But it's almost
Uh-huh.
like Luke has no clue what he's doing when he's trying to put things in order, which is insane because he explicitly
Yeah,
says at
I
the
think I
very
agree with
beginning that he's going to put it into order.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I
the
mean,
guy's
yeah.
an
I mean, I
idiot.
got nowhere to. Yeah, I got nowhere to disagree with you on that. The structure of the gospels and stuff like that. I guess I'm just trying to get to where I guess you're comfortable with reasoning with a historical John the Baptist. I understand that you're also comfortable not saying that he's real, but I wonder where the comfort comes from in saying, like, sure, he was a real guy. And I know that doesn't matter to you, but I'm just trying to understand the
It's
reason.
just whether or not Josephus's account of him is accurate or authentic. That's all that it is.
Okay,
My
okay.
co-author argues that
Uh,
it's not authentic because of certain problems that are very clearly there. But I don't know if it's been messed with. I don't know if it's been added. I don't know.
is that something that, because I know you work with Stylo, is that something that Stylo could figure out, or?
I mean, to some extent, it should be able to, unless it's just messed with. But
Okay,
I mean,
and
it just
so
kind of depends.
okay, and so when,
So I haven't looked into it enough to be able to give you an answer on that. So
okay, okay. Because I guess that's where some of my reasoning comes from with Josephus mentioning of Jesus is more or less tampered, right? That's
yep,
you know what I'm talking about.
yep.
So any other mention of other Yeshuas? I guess I'm pointing back to like another historical inspiration for the character of Jesus that's in the Bible.
There's
So the
Jesus who
character of
writes
Jesus.
the wisdom of Jesus ben Sirach in the Catholic Bible, but that's in the early
Yeah,
second
yeah.
century BCE, and that's probably where they got the name and some of the inspiration from.
But from my understanding, I think Josephus, in some of his writings, talks about various people named Jesus, not of Nazareth,
Yeah.
but that are kind of
Yeah, he
messianic
does.
in
There's
their deliveries.
well, not really, but there are people that he talks about named Jesus in his text. Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it doesn't line up with the time.
As far as for an inspiration for who,
I mean, if you want to
again,
say that
me as
there's
a
a
non-Christian.
Jesus who is an inspiration, that's perfectly fine. But the Jesus that's presented in the New Testament is not who he's talking about there, because it's the wrong time period.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can agree with that. I, yeah, so I mean, so okay, so you're saying you reject the idea of a Jewish man um, that was mythologized after his death?
Yep.
Okay, and I guess that's probably where I agree with you on a lot of things that I guess my my gut is telling me that there is some kind of a person that this was based off of, even though it's not like, they're not telling the story of that guy. It's kind of just like an inspiration, more or less. I hear you bring up Harry Potter in reference to like fiction, and uh, do you think it's as like, well, there's some type. I don't think there's any historical basis to Harry Potter, right? Like there's no
Correct.
real place, or but something like the Bible refers to real places and sometimes real people, not all the time. Um, so it's like it feels like the Bible is more analogous to something like Ron Burgundy or something, where it's like, San Diego's a real place. Uh,
London's a real place.
Ron, say that again.
London is a real place.
Oh, I mean, I'm probably not that hip on Harry Potter. That's where all that shit goes down. It goes down in London.
A lot of it.
Oh, okay. Well, I was out to look with that. I guess uh, I'm thinking of Harry Potter like it's a Game of Thrones or something, where that's like, I guess, more just like complete fantasy inspired by real life, but it's complete fantasy. Westeros and Essos like aren't real,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
like,
So what's your
there's
point?
some history.
What's your question or what's your point that you're trying to get to?
Uh, that it seems like there was a historical inspiration for the character of the Bible, but I think I agree with you that the character of the Bible didn't exist.
Well, welcome to mythicism.
So I would be considered a mythicist based on the idea that so what's the historicist then
Somebody
compared to a
who thinks that the
mythicist?
Jesus that is presented in the New Testament actually existed.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I guess I'm just coming to an understanding of what these different, schools of thought are specifically before just I'm a mythicist, but there's some things I say that some mythicists might not say. I think that it's hard to put myself in a school of thought, but so you're not necessarily rejecting the idea of yeah, this being inspired by somebody. You're just saying that this somebody doesn't, whoever is written about isn't existing.
Yeah. James Bond could be a
Okay,
real
well,
person named James, but that doesn't mean he's James Bond.
not for you, but are you saying that like with that analogy, there was some type of secret agent?
No.
You're just saying there's somebody named James.
Yep. The best you can find is
So
somebody named Jesus. There's nothing else that connects to him. Maybe Jesus, Jewish, that's it. Full stop.
okay, so
James,
none of the
British, does not
Jesuses
mean James
you
Bond.
mentioned.
Harry, British, does not mean Harry Potter. Peter, American, does not mean Spider-Man.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, shit. I mean, I guess not really much to talk about based off that.
Welcome to mythicism.
Uh, cool. Cool. I mean, like, I still probably wouldn't consider myself a mysticist, but I do appreciate the school of thought. It's interesting. But yeah, all right, man, I'll get out your way, let you argue with people that actually you would argue with.
All right. Well, thanks for coming up, man.
Yeah,
That
no
was
problem.
PDSW2, everybody. PDSW2. Really fast. Let's see. $5 super chat there from Matthew Mulcahy says, on a more serious note, in your book, when you say Mark is the first gospel, does that mean before Gospel of Marcion or the first gospel of the Bible? So it depends. So in the book, we talk a little bit about something called Proto-Mark because we assumed that there was some version of Mark that existed before Evangelion was written. We were wrong on that. That is something that since the book came out, we actually tried to reconstruct, and then we ran it in Greek and everything like that, compared it to the rest of Mark, and we saw that, nope, same author. So unfortunately, the Gospel of Mark, we're wrong, but in our favor, I guess, in the sense that the Gospel of Mark does show up later on after Evangelion in its entirety, just about. But we were wrong in the sense that Proto-Mark does not exist prior. So does Mark come before Gospel of Marcion? No. But it is the first gospel of the 4 canonical gospels. That is at least true. Thank you very much, though, for the question. $5 there from Resting Opface says, that's me in the corner. Yeah, and it's, that's me in the queef light, losing my religion. That doesn't, you're just kind of putting the word somewhere and it doesn't really work. Wow. You animals. 105. 105 of these things. Ridiculous. Okay. Xena Lapudre, $5 says, it's just a harmless little word, Jorka. Perfectly natural. Soft as the breeze on your face. Quiet as a mouse or loud as the storm. Feels like home. Those are two very different things. What? Anyways, Deshaun Martinez. Mouse and storm mentioned. Was that the point? Was that the point? Probably. Probably. I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it. $2 there from Matthew Mulcahy says, all shall love me and despair. Again, if you're there on YouTube and you want to come up, definitely you can. I take guests on TikTok. You'll have to click the link that's in the chat or on the YouTube profile. If you don't have a TikTok or don't want to come up here on TikTok, that's not a problem. Send a super chat. I will read it out loud, I promise, and I will respond to it. It might take a second just to kind of get to it, but I will read it. So if you want to ask a question, say something, or just call me an idiot, go ahead. Let's see. Deshaun Martinez, what you got?
Good morning, man. Nice hat.
Oh, like it.
I just want to pick your brain and know. I see your videos all the time or your lives. I just want to know what you not believe, but what your why you do this and what's the reason
For the
to,
glory of Satan,
why...
of course. Let's get to it. Well, what's your evidence for Jesus or Paul?
What did you say?
What's your evidence for Jesus and Paul?
My evidence?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to 100% argue with you about evidence or not. I just want to know your perspective of it. I want to know, why do you believe this way, or why do you see the Bible this way, or Jesus or Paul this way?
Because they're fake. I don't know what to tell you.
Explain it to me.
The Jesus and Paul as presented in the New Testament are mythological people, like myths. Mythical?
Do you have any evidence for that or proof of that?
Yeah, it's impossible for these people to have existed. Paul is presented as somebody who goes to the temple and the synagogues in Jerusalem prior to 70 when there's no synagogues. And Jesus talks about rabbis 40 years before the first rabbi. So the Jesus and the Paul that are presented in the New Testament are mythological. They're not real. They're also very clearly tied in with supernatural things that are lifted from prior stories and stuff like that from other myths.
Why do you think the Bible would do this then? Why would they come up with these?
Because the entire Bible, Old Testament and New Testament, relies on a lot of different myths that had came prior. I mean, hell, we already know that Noah's Ark story didn't actually happen, and on top of that, it's something that is just pulled from Epic of Gilgamesh, which is the oldest story that we have. So, yeah. It's pretty clear that myths influence other myths.
And do you think these myths are to control people, or are they to have a
narrative,
no. Or
I mean,
what's the?
I will say that as far as the creation of the Old Testament, it does seem to have a particular motive for it. we do start to see it, like just about all of it start to show up about the same time. There seems to be more of, if there was any control narrative, this is going to sound slightly anti-Semitic, but it's not. It's just the evidence that we're finding is that there is a reason why people are coming together and forming the Old Testament, like the Torah, the Tanakh. There's more of a reason, like a more of a cultural reason, where they're actually coming together and they're saying, "Oh, hey, we're doing this for the purpose of getting everybody on the same page." So if you want to call that control, then I guess ish, sort of, kind of. But within Christianity, it's not so much like oh, hey, this is cultural. Not necessarily. It's more of a, hey, this is this belief of this community that I am in for this religion. So it's slightly different. So if you're going to say that either the Old Testament or the New Testament is designed for control, it would be more the Old Testament than the New Testament. But nevertheless, both of them get used, especially by the Christians in the 4th century, to control people.
I have one more question. So, almost every religion uses Jesus, right, as a good example. They use him as a prophet. Some people use him as
but
like a teacher.
that's because they're
So,
aware of Christian stories about him, and so they just go, "Oh, he sounds like a cool guy," and then they just kind of adopt him.
so it's kind of crazy though. Like one of the biggest influences of our society, you are saying, is made up and fake, right? So, there's more
Yeah.
movies about Jesus. There's more,
There's
some
movies
people
about
say
Thor.
that we
There's a
have.
movie about Santa Claus. I don't give two shits.
No, but what I'm saying is those people. I mean, of course, Santa has affected the world in a sense, but Jesus is far more profound than him, right?
Okay.
Like Jesus's life story, basically is a person that puts others before himself, that sacrificed himself. That's the story, right? That Jesus
Cool.
came to sacrifice himself.
Yep.
So that story has changed millions of people's life, right? So the point that I
Okay.
want to get is
Harry
that
Potter
if this
changes
is all,
kids' lives. I don't care.
I'm just saying, like
Like, that doesn't mean
I just
anything.
thought
That doesn't. I mean, if you like something because it just makes you feel good, cool, sweet. Keep reading Harry Potter. Keep reading Spider-Man. Keep reading Jesus. Fine to me if you like fiction books. Don't give a shit. But that doesn't make it true.
I have one more question real quick
Yep.
before I leave. So realistically, we can't prove even you and me talking, right?
Yeah, we can. We're
There's
doing it
not
right now.
really. So there's 100% proof for between us talking.
Yep. Doing it right now.
Okay. Well, I was just trying to say that it's hard to prove anything, really.
No, it's not. We're talking right now.
All right. Well, thank you, man. I just wanted to pick your brain and see what you think about this topic. So
All right. Sounds
appreciate
good.
it.
Thanks for coming up. All right. Yeah, I don't play that Phil Bro bullshit. All right. Sonini, what's going on? Hey, Panini, don't you be a matey. All right. What you got, Sonini?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear on the poll. Don't never existed. I didn't hear what you were saying too much, so kind of came up for that because I was looking into it myself, and I'm seeing evidence of it. When I'm looking at the letters, they like to say that I think they see there's 6 or 7 that they like to give under Paul himself, and the others is under unknown orders. When I compare the two against each other, that's where I found something interesting, that the letters that they say is on the Paul, they support the synoptic message, as opposed to the other letters that is not written by Paul himself. They oppose the synoptic message. In other words, they push the antichrist kind of concepts. I wonder if you had saw that in your research. Thanks.
I mean, the later pastorals and everything like that would have been closer to the writing of like the Gospel of John than the writings of something else. The pastorals are not included in. They're not included in Marcion's canon, which comes out in 144, along with the first gospel published, which is called Evangelion or Evangelion. So there's a core in those 10, the 10 letters that are not the pastorals. There's a core in there that is rooted in the original message, if you will, and would be edited later on, added to and whatnot as the synoptics come out, like Mark and Matthew and Luke. But then when John comes out, that's the last of the 4 canonical gospels. And the pastorals would come out similar. They'd be pretty close to that. So yeah, I mean, you'd get some material in there that's not too terribly close to the synoptics. Yeah. So I mean, what you're saying kind of makes some sense. Yeah. But it's just because of
I
the
was,
dating of it and stuff. It's just late 2nd century.
I mean, what you say is so enticing because could if I pitch a theory, could we say Acts is the template
For what?
that goes with that, like how that talks that early timeline interference? Because when I'm checking Acts, I'm in the BC timeline, especially when I'm doing biblical geography. We're not doing the theology. When I'm doing geography, biblical geography, there's an issue going on. You know what I'm saying? Because the geography of the story, it's let's say it's in the north, but the characters they still remain in the south. You get it?
I think I do, but keep going.
And but Acts now, Acts, you know, most Christians like to say, oh, Acts is on the pole, but when you check it, it's more Luke, right? And then when you
Well, I
check the
mean,
timeline
eh,
of the Enoch and Candace, they're in a BCE timeline. So
wait,
Paul could not have been in that timeline.
who?
The Ethiopian Queen Candace, she's of Cush.
Okay.
That'll be 800 700 BCE timeline. I'm assuming.
I mean, is she
if I'm not
mentioned
mistaken.
by name in Acts?
Candace, you'll have find out as Queen Candace in Acts, but you know Candace is a more modern variant. The more ancient name is Kandake or Kandak. That's Kadake, which is the modern name Candace today.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it does have her name mentioned in there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's see.
That is like T'Challa's bodyguards, the Kandakes. Now, historically speaking, I'm assuming that historically she was conquered. This is how, and normally when you conquer royalty, you don't treat them like regular
Oh, it's a
normal
term for
people. Imagine,
queen.
yeah. So she was a
So
queen,
it's like
but she had a
Pharaoh or
name.
whatever, because it's like really of the Candace, queen of the Ethiopians. Okay, but I mean, okay.
So I'm saying on the precept you just showed to me, I was like, oh, is it that could I throw Acts on the table because we're talking history where
But like,
where
which
some
one would you say
verses.
that it is then? Because I mean, there's a bunch of them.
I have the name. Don't butcher me now. I think it's under Amani Tori. That's
The
AMANITORE.
middle 1st century, A.D.
Yeah, I'm assuming the whole it to me because like a couple of days ago I just cracked the code because the issue is with right here
Uh-huh.
what they made here what they made a mistake. There's a consistency of time overlap now.
Well, I
Even though
mean,
that's
this
not in the field, there's other applications that when you put it to it, it's making my thesis really solid. Like I can sit down with the biggest of the biggest guns and box with it.
I don't know when this
You
is
know what I'm
actually
saying?
dated to or how it's dated, but I mean, at least just kind of looking at it really quick, it says that Amanitori would be dated to the middle of the 1st century CE or AD, so that would line up with Acts.
And then from there, you know, we're talking the Hellenistic period. You was, but I'm saying, you see, when you look at this whole exile time, this exile, right? Theology speaking, they're
I don't
talking
know what you're talking
Israel
about.
Antioch.
Are you trying to say that
But
Acts is out of time because it's trying to say that the Ethiopian eunuch was part of one of the Candaces or the Candace?
when the geography, yes, the geography points to that timeline, correct. And I wanted to add, for example,
Right,
that
but like I don't.
when you look at, hold on, wait.
How
When you look at the
how
kingdom
how do
split,
we know it's not this one who's in the middle of the 1st century?
well, I have the whole report to narrow it down as that Amani Tori is one of my main suspect thus far. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to add, for example, like when you're looking at the Israel and Judah split, right? The timeline for that's actually in the 21st and 22nd dynastic period, Egyptian period. So you cannot find no historical records for David nor Solomon. Why? So why is the Bible speaking of that particular timeline? Yes, sharing events around that specific
I'm not gonna lie to you, man.
story.
I'm not able to keep up with what you're talking about. I want you
Yeah.
to explain to me really fast how this is not. Either explain to me that how you know this is the person that they're talking about, or how you know it's not the person that we're talking about?
Because when you go along with the story and you're doing biblical geography, Jehovah's, and they mention
So
certain
the
places
geography
where
of
it
Acts,
lines up with hold on,
the
it lines up
geography
with
there
archaeology.
of Acts 8 is what you're saying.
Yeah, for example, yes, and
Okay.
others, yes, yes. So I'm saying that that along with archaeological
So
time
so
data
where's
by
the
timeline.
what geography is problematic here?
Um,
I mean, I'm
as I
open
said
to
before,
hearing this. I just don't know what you're talking about. So go ahead and explain it.
Wes, yes, look, myself, as I say, when it comes to this particular part, I've just cracked that code like 2, 3 years ago, so I won't be able to speak on it confidently and extensively.
Well,
But I wanted to kind of narrate the same example, but to carry it to the story of the exile, because it's
I
what
don't care
it's the
about the
same
story of the
thing.
exile. That's something else. Why do I care about that?
All
That's
right,
some
but
other.
the point of
That's in the Old Testament. I don't give a shit.
but I don't know. It's there's a consistency I'm seeing, bro. So this again, the David Solomon story is actually set in the timeline of the 21st and 22nd Egyptian timeline. A matter of fact, when you go to the book of Genesis,
Okay.
chapter 39:1,
Good
it's
God,
actually
dude.
in
I
the
don't care. Like, I understand that there's problems in the Old Testament, but as far as the New Testament goes, you had made the claim that the eunuch that Philip talks to is working for a Candace that is not in the right time, like, is anachronistic. But
yes.
unfortunately, I don't see how that's the case. Like, where does it establish who this person is, and how did you determine it wasn't trying to be this person? Like, I'm not arguing that Acts is a real story, but like,
I know.
this would be useful information if it was anachronistic. So I'm trying to figure out how you got to that anachronism.
All right, this as I said, the compilation of linguistics, time overlaps, archaeological evidence,
What of what of
other
what
texts
of what?
put into the kingdom of Kush. This when you're tracking the story of Tahaka
Where does it say
and
anything
Tantra.
about Cush here?
Yeah, Amanatory that surrounds all during the time of Kush and Ptolemy,
Where
the
does it
era.
say anything about Ptolemy here? What is happening? I'm trying to figure out how this
No, hold
story
on.
here is anachronistic, and I'd like to hear it, but you're not saying anything that has anything to do with it.
Yeah, yeah. Let me jump and get the details. That's what I'm saying because I have everything there, but it's not logged in the cognition, you know. But the consistency, I'm saying that when you're reading the scripts and everybody's decoding the Bible and say, oh, there's no evidence for David and Solomon, of course, because David and Solomon they are retrojected anchors, yeah, because the text is talking something else. It's talking about the 21st and 22nd dynastic period. And I have strong evidence to show you it's from the 19th to the 22nd, which would mean that when we come to Egyptology and history, even when we go to the Gilgamesh, yeah, pieces of that story would is actually hidden within the biblical text, hence leading to secret societies such as Illuminati and Masonry and
Okay.
etc.
Yeah, you just way off the deep end. Like, no, man. Like, you didn't say any. If it's anachronistic in Acts, I am interested in it. I'd like to hear your argument. What you were saying was a whole bunch of like kooky shit. So like, either DM it or re-crack the code, if you will, refamiliarize yourself with the cracking of said code or whatever, and then come back. I'm open to hearing it. It's just what you're saying didn't have anything to do with what we were reading in the Bible. So I don't know. The take on this is just here on the Wikipedia page here for Candace there. It says in the New Testament, a treasury official of Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, returning from a trip to Jerusalem, met with Philip the evangelist. And it just says, rise and go towards the south and road to the road that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza. This is a desert place. And he rose and went. Ethiopian eunuch, court official of Candace, queen of the Ethiopians. Yeah. He discussed with Philip the meaning of the perplexing passage. He explained it, probably baptized some nearby water. The eunuch went on his way rejoicing and presumably therefore reported back on his conversion to the Candy. So I don't think there's any like official stance within the Bible or anything like that within the text that tries to tell us which one it is or which one it couldn't be or something. So I don't know. I don't know how it could be anachronistic necessarily. It's just a story. It didn't happen, obviously. I'm not arguing for that, but nevertheless, I don't think there's enough information to say it's anachronistic. There is a super chat. Oh my god. Okay, so there's a super chat there for $2 from Matthew Mulkeen. Says, "All shall love me and despair." Yikes! I don't even know what that's about. Good lord. All right. So I mean, it's kind of cool that like it's talking a little bit about like the Candace and everything like that. That's kind of cool. I didn't even know it was actually like explicitly like named like the, but it's more like the Pharaoh. Like it's just like it's a really, it's a it's a really broad, like very vague term, like a title that is used by the Bible to talk about anybody really. Um, and I think they're kind of smart in the sense that like, hey, if you don't know enough about that culture, just kind of say Pharaoh or just kind of say the Candace and just get it over with. Otherwise, people are going to call it your shit. All right. Let's see. All right. As far I don't know. I don't know if this is friendly or not. I can't remember. That's a quote from Ozymandias? Like from Watchmen? What's going on, Drayton? Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why it keeps doing it. I apologize.
No worries, man. No worries. Thanks. How's it
Damn.
going? Oh. It's funny. All right. Oh, did he quote Ozymandias? Oh, I don't know. I like Watchmen though. It's pretty interesting. All right. Cuteness. Cuteness? Sorry, you didn't catch what he said. Yeah, I mean, it's just, nah. It wasn't anything that was really helping the argument for Jesus and Paul necessarily. It didn't really even have anything to do with either of them, really. Just kind of sort of talked a little bit about like Acts though, but that portion in Acts wasn't about Paul. It was about Philip. All right. The Jeronites say my name. Davidero Sebastian. Yaitorote. All right. Let's see. On the base of the Colossus of Rhodes. Okay. If you got any evidence for Jesus or Paul, come on up. Paul was created by Marcion and Jesus was created by Paul. Okay. I'm not really going to argue that one. Matthew Mulkeen, $2. It was a follow-up to a super chat. Oh, all shall love me in despair. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That was from Ozymandias. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I get it now. Mute or rebuke time, probably. Is there anybody chirping in the chat? I don't think so. I don't think they're just chirping. I don't think. Hunches and Marcion is Paul. Yeah. The more that I have looked into it, the more that I agree with Hanji there about Marcion is probably just who Paul's based on. Probably just Marcion. All right. No, Trevichev, not gonna do that. Not gonna fall for that shit. What say you about the Jeronites? For starters, first of all, what the fuck? Secondly, why the fuck? Thirdly, who the fuck? Not so much chirping. No, Jesus Christ. Question: does a Geronite speak Geronese? Maybe. I don't know. Yo, stars. That was kind of funny. Reconstructed carry. What? I don't. Is that supposed to be carrier?
Yellow.
Yellow. There. We got Miller Boy from Mississippi.
Yeah, I just really want to show you my penis.
Fair enough.
Oh God. You want to see it, bro?
Yeah, let's see it.
All right.
Okay. He had to find it there for a while. All right. Life's a Glitch says, I'm not a mythicist. I'm just someone who considers myself a follower of Jared. You know, I'm something of a mythicist myself. Crystal with a little magnifying glass. Hell yeah. All right. There's other lies for that. There are? I don't think you can on TikTok or YouTube. $5 from Matthew Milking says, the more complete quote is, in place of the Dark Lord, you will set up a queef. All shall love me in despair. Oh my God. All right. All right. $106 mentions. My parents, I'm sure, are proud. Jared Knight equal 35% gang. Is that what that means? Go on PMAR's live for that? Is there stuff on Discord? There better not be stuff on Discord. What's on Discord? Okay, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Yeah, I don't see anything crazy on there. Christina the Godless, 1/3 of Girls Gone Godless, found where all podcasts can be found, is asking for a clip of when I called her heretic trash. I don't know what she wants with it. I'm a little afraid of what she'll do with it. Leet right. Leet right. Goody Good says, is Jesus really the same as the story of Horus and Isis? No. All right, and back for a second spanking. Let's see. You heard him earlier when he was here for 23 minutes and 29 seconds. Welcome back, everybody. The Seraphim Project.
Right.
What'd
So
you got?
last time we picked up on the Dead Sea Scrolls, and you asked me where was Jesus mentioned, and what about Isaiah 53 and Psalms 22? Jesus is mentioned very clearly there.
Very clearly. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is we're going to pull up Isaiah 53, and I'm going to scroll through it. I'm just going to set it on just automatic scroll. You're going to look for the word Jesus.
We're not looking for the word Jesus.
You said it
We're
was
looking
clearly
for-
mentioned. Shut up. We're looking at the
He is
Bible.
clearly mentioned.
Yeah,
Just
I know.
read
We're
the
gonna.
description.
Yeah, I know. We're looking. Anybody see the word Jesus yet? Anybody?
Can you read it? Can you read it?
Yeah, we're reading it. We're reading it. We're looking for the word Jesus. You said it was clearly mentioned.
Can you read it out loud?
It's clearly mentioned.
You're not reading it out loud.
Oh, we're not finding Jesus. That's the problem. I'll tell you when I find it.
That's because you're finding a description of him.
You said he was clearly mentioned, so he's not
He is
mentioned.
clearly mentioned.
How did you know it was
description of him
Jesus?
that's clearly because the description matches up to Jesus.
Oh, it does. Okay. So really quick, is Jesus before or after Isaiah?
He's after Isaiah.
After Isaiah? Okay. So, do you understand what a prophecy is?
Yes.
What's a prophecy?
You're predicting some fortunate events that's happening in the future.
Okay. And I want you to tell me, I want you to give me an example. Let's say that there's a prophecy about me and my visit to the grocery store. All right. Let's say, I know it's a dumb example, but I just want to make sure that you're aware and we're all aware that you're aware of what a prophecy sounds like. Okay. I want you to really quick, just make a quick prophecy that regards me going to the grocery store. A visit of me to the grocery store. Make a prophecy of that really quick. What would that sound like?
I predict that you're gonna go to the grocery store.
Okay. I predict that you're going to go to the grocery store. So in other words, you're using future tense, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, if I had already been to the grocery store, then it wouldn't be a prophecy, right? Like if you say, oh, he already went to the
No,
grocery
you would have
store.
already fulfilled it.
Yeah, it's not necessarily fulfillment. There's no prophecy if you're just saying
Right, I
he
understand what you're
did go to the
saying.
grocery
it
store,
wouldn't
right?
be a prophecy because
Okay,
you've already
cool.
done it and it's
Yeah.
in past tense. It's true.
So
yeah.
past tense, yeah. So that's how that works. So really quick, what we're going to do is we're going to go through Isaiah 53. All right, who has believed what we have heard? So past tense, okay. And to whom has the Lord of the Lord been revealed? Okay, past tense. He grew up, past tense, before him like a young plant and like a root out of dry ground. He had, past tense, no form or majesty that we should look at him. Nothing in his
Because
appearance
Jesus is
that
eternal.
we should say what?
Because Jesus is eternal and
Oh,
he
okay.
existed
Okay.
before
So you think that
his
a
creation
prophecy
of
can
it
talk
come.
about the past?
Well, the prophecy is referring
Because you
to
already
him
said that
because he
Jesus.
existed.
No. You didn't say Jesus was
but
eternal. I asked you earlier if Jesus was after Isaiah, and you explicitly said the word after. And you pointed
yeah,
out. No.
because what
Listen.
Christians believe is both are true. Both are true.
Listen.
Not just one is true.
Listen.
Because Jesus is
Well,
eternal
then I
according
don't
to
know
most
why you
Christian
picked
belief.
one. I don't know why you picked one. You said that he was after Isaiah, and then you went on to say that a prophecy is something for the future and not for the past. You said all three of these things, and this is on YouTube. It's recorded forever. We have you on record saying that Jesus is after Isaiah. A prophecy is for future tense and uses future tense verbs. And if something happened before the prophecy, then there's not a prophecy, and it's not real. A prophecy is not about the past. Now we're taking a look at this, and we're seeing that all of this text that you're thinking is for somebody who's after Isaiah is always talking about in the past. All right. Now, you know what? Even if I granted you that Jesus was somehow eternal, he wasn't. And I granted you that this is about Jesus. It's not. It never mentions Jesus. In fact, it talks about the servant in this text, and 6 or 7 times prior to, or probably closer to 8 times prior to Isaiah 53, the servant is clearly identified explicitly, and by clearly, when I use the word clearly, it's actually clearly like with a name and everything, identified as Israel, or the personification of Israel, as in the house of Jacob. Jacob being the character who is the father of, well, the Israelites, seeing as his nickname is Israel, or his new name that the angel gives him in the story is Israel. That's how that works. So Isaiah 53 is not about Jesus at all, but even if it was, and even if I grant you that Jesus is eternal and it's past tense, I want you to tell me the story about how people let Jesus carry diseases. Where's the Bible verse? I'm going to send you an invite to unmute here. What Bible verse talks about how Jesus had a disease?
I think what is mentioned by that is it's very clear. It's that Jesus
It's very
was an
clear that
incarnation
he
of man.
carried
So
diseases?
all the diseases of men, all of the imperfections of humans, he
So
essentially
he had
claimed all of
diseases.
that as his incarnation.
He had
Yes,
diseases? He was acquainted with infirmity? Did people really
sense that
fast,
he
really
was in a
fast?
human body that was able to.
Did he have a sermon on the side of the mount where 5,000 people showed up?
Yes,
Okay, did he have a sermon where 3,000 people showed up?
I believe so, but I'm
Yeah.
not 100%.
Is there a story in the Bible where a woman reaches out and touches just the hem of his cloak, and he goes, "Who touched me?" And the disciples say, "There's so many people here, we all touched you." Is that a story that happened?
That's a story, yes.
Okay. Is there a story in the New Testament about Jesus being so popular somewhere that people had to cut a hole in a roof just to get a sick man down to him?
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay, cool. So when it says, "As one from whom others hide their faces, he was despised, and we held him of no account," how is it that people are literally traveling from all over the place, including a centurion, asking him to heal people? That no one held him of any account, and they hid their faces from him, but yet he has 5,000 people listening to him, trying to touch him and bringing people down through the roof because there's so many people who want to be near him? Is this the same person who, carries diseases? Is this the Jesus that you're talking about that isn't mentioned and also is talked about in past tense because he's eternal?
I don't understand the point that
You
you're
don't
making,
understand
because
what the
my
word
point is-
diseases
no,
mean?
no, no,
So
can I just
disease is
explain
like
my
a
point?
sickness.
Can I
I don't
just
think that
explain
Jesus
for
is
a
ever
second?
sick in any of the New Testament.
Can-
And I don't
can
think
I
that
just
Jesus
explain
is
for a second?
despised and they held him of no account and that others hid their faces whenever he's one of the most popular people on the planet who's able to pull out 5,000 people just to listen to a sermon in the middle of the day.
Jesus was despised because he was despised by the Jews for claiming that he was God. But he did
Okay,
nothing
listen,
wrong,
listen.
Which is why it
So
says
who is
that
we held him of no account?
had
Who
no
is the
account.
we here? Who is this we?
I think that's internally speaking about Christians. That's talking about.
A Christian wrote Isaiah. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm talking about the people at the time when Jesus was alive. Because you're
Okay,
saying
well,
that you
was
like to say
Jesus
that it's
alive?
talking
You
about
already said
Jesus,
that
so it's-
Jesus was
we're
alive
talking
after
about his
Isaiah,
followers
so this
there.
we here couldn't be anybody alive during Jesus.
Say
Because
that again, sorry.
you already admitted that Jesus is alive after Isaiah is written. So this we here couldn't be anybody alive during Jesus.
What do you mean it can be?
We held him
It's
of
just-
no account. Who is we?
The we is talking about his followers at the time.
No, it's not, because
How
Isaiah
does
is
that
not
all
written
get
by
to-
one of his followers.
Yeah, but Isaiah is talking about a prophecy that's being fulfilled in the future. So
No,
when
it's
we're talking
not.
about
No,
we're
we
talking
held
about
is
people from the
held
future, which
is
the
held
Christians,
is
the
held. Is
believers of
that
God.
past tense or future tense? Is this
That's,
past tense or future tense?
Past tense.
Okay, yeah. So don't try to tell me that this is talking about somebody will hold him in of no account.
Yes,
This
but you're
says we
talking
held him
about
of no
prof-
account. So
you're
who is the
talking
we?
about-
Who is the we?
We're talking about
Sweet. Who is the we?
we is the believers, and the reason that
No,
it's
no.
written in
Listen.
Isaiah
Listen.
hundreds of
This
years
is
before
this
because it's
held
talking
here.
about
No,
prophecy
listen,
that's happened
listen,
hundreds of
listen.
years after.
Even if I grant you that Jesus is eternal, this isn't any kind of prophecy of what Jesus will do. This is a prophecy of what people do, right?
People do to Jesus, yeah.
Cool. But this doesn't say we will hold him of no account. This says we held him. So are the people eternal too?
No, it's just talking
Okay,
about the
well then why
people
is it
that
not
are
saying
happening
we
that are
will
like
hold
that.
him of no account? I mean, all the things that talk about Jesus you say are just because he's eternal. Even though he comes later, they could talk about him in the past. But this is talking about people doing something. How is that possible? Are the people eternal? You already said no. We have you on record saying no. The people who knew Jesus are
and
not
I
eternal.
affirm
So
that
how
the
do we held
The
him of
people are
account?
definitely
How
not
does that?
eternal.
How does that line?
Isaiah
We
was
will hold him
prophesizing
in
something
account.
that-
How is that possible?
Repeat it, because I'm not
Okay,
understanding
so
your
I know
point.
you're not understanding
the way
because
I
you don't
see it is
understand how
Isaiah-
words work. But
let-
you're going to
let-
need
let
to
me
shut
just
up.
say-
You're going to need to shut up for a second and listen to me ask the question. That way you can think of some bullshit to spew after I'm done. All right. Whenever you said that this term here can be past tense because it's talking about Jesus and he's eternal. Right here, you're trying to say that the we is the people who knew Jesus or met Jesus, or at least, held him of no account in the Gospels. But right here, it's talking about held, and it uses a past tense word. So I guess the people who will show up in the future after Isaiah and not like Jesus, not all the people who love Jesus, but the people who dislike Jesus, the few amount, they're eternal as well?
When it says we held him to account, it's
Is
talking
that
in the
future
past
tense or past tense?
That's
Yeah,
because
correct. Because
it's-
this is talking
it's
about something
talking
that happened in the past,
right?
correct?
No, I see what you're saying, but I'm
Does
saying...
this-
but
is
let
this
me just
something
make
that
my
happened
point.
in the
I'm saying
past?
it's talking in the past tense. It's saying held because it's saying it's talking in the past tense, but it's overall talking about in the future tense.
No,
'cause
it's
a
not.
prophecy
Where's
that's
the
happening in
future tense for the people?
Both can be true at
Where's
the same time.
No, where's the future tense for the people? Prove it.
This is my argument is there is no there.
So your
this
argument is
talking
that
in the
whenever
past
it
tense. I
whenever
agree
it
with
talks
you.
about
I'm
the past
saying
tense,
that
it's
this
talking about the
past
future tense for people? Because your entire argument was that Jesus is eternal,
It's talking
and
about
that's
the
how
future
you
tense for the
explain that.
entire prophecy.
No. So listen,
Look, the way
you
I see
already
it is-
you
let
already
me-
said
let me-
earlier
let
that
me-
a
let me
prophecy
simplify
cannot
it.
be in
Let
past
me
tense.
simplify it.
No,
Let me
no,
just say
listen,
Isaiah
listen.
53.
You're now muted. You already said that a prophecy cannot be past tense. It has to be future tense. You said that already. So no. Now, even if I grant to you, which your line was bullshit anyways, but the idea that Jesus is eternal and so he gets this term, he gets to use past tense. The people aren't eternal. You already said that, so they can't use past tense. You said the only reason he can use past tense and it still be a prophecy is because he's eternal. But the people are not eternal. You said that a prophecy is not past tense. And then you said that this is past tense. And now you're trying to say that it's both, and it's not.
Right. I think to me, my answer makes complete sense because
Yeah, I know.
you're
It's because
talking
you're a
about
fucking
Isaiah.
idiot.
You're talking about Isaiah 53,
Yeah.
and that's a prophecy that's being told that's going to happen in
No.
the future.
Where does it say? Where
And
does it
it's
say
talking
that we
about
will hold
it's
him?
talking
Where does it
it's
say that we
talking
will
about
hold him in?
it's talking about event.
All right, you're muted again. I want you to tell me where it says we will hold him of no account. Like we're going to. And if you can't, or you can't admit that you were wrong about this, you're going to catch a nice little block. All right? So, I'm going to send you the invite to unmute. Either explain what verse says we will hold him of no account, and it'd be future tense, or explain that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, or you just say that. I just sent you an invite to unmute. Go ahead and unmute and give me either one of the answers, or I'll go ahead and hit the button and you'll be blocked. What would you like?
Right, you're gonna let me talk. Okay.
As
So
long as you
all I
either
have
give
to
me the
say
verse,
is
give me
the
the verse
reason
where
it
it says future tense for the people, or say that you're making it up. One of those two. What do you like? Go ahead. Give me the verse that gives
return
future
for
tense
that,
for the people.
and I gave you an explanation for that. The reason it's past tense also for the people, and I get your argument. Okay, it's because it's past tense for the people and Jesus. That must mean the people are also eternal. I get your point, but what I'm saying is it's a prophecy that's
Yeah. Sounds good, man. Past tense is not a prophecy, and you already said that. That's how that works. Alrighty. I had to block him twice because his connection was bad. All right, $5 there from $5 there from Alan0465 on Super Chat there. Says, we have a first-hand account of Claudius turning into a gourd in heaven. Where does... Alan is pulling some of the deepest shit. This isn't Mark Allen, is it? Is this... Are you Mark Allen? Is that who you... Is that who that is? Is Alan 0462? Does anybody know if Alan 0465 on YouTube is Mark Allen? Is that who that is? Because that's the only thing that makes any sense, that this guy's just randomly able to just pull all this like crazy material out of nowhere. All right. As he said, we have a. He said no. He's okay. We have a first-hand account of Claudius turning into a gourd in heaven after he died by someone who knew him personally. After he died by someone who knew him personally. Pretty good, huh? Yeah. I mean, damn. I just. No, I am not. Okay, he said no. I honestly don't know. I mean, no, it's not good, obviously. That didn't happen. But like, dear God, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous stuff. All right. The Tacticus counter? Yeah. For some reason, Tacticus actually doesn't have as many people bringing it up as Josephus. I thought that it would be a little bit more, but I don't know. I have no idea. Who am I? Who am I to judge what I talk about on a daily basis? I don't know if the board has actually like caused people to bring it up less or something. Maybe, I don't know. But I thought that Josephus would be brought up a lot more. But he's just not for some weird reason. I honestly, I don't get it. I don't get it. I feel like I was talking about it day in and day out, like 5 or 6 times a fucking day. And then all of a sudden, in the course of like 3 days, it only comes up like 8 times. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Blame Jake? Probably. That makes sense. You probably should.
Oh my. You done messed up, Aaron!
All right. Honestly, Anike, I think that we might be like someone. So Anike, there, I told you about the board. Nope, yeah. You also told me about this thing. Nope, I'm listening to you. It just takes me a little bit, to get this stuff going. But yeah, I listen. Matthew Mulkeen, $2 says the love me and despair quote is Gadriel, Lord of the Rings. Also, nope, that was $2 there. I told you about the board. And Anike, I think you might be correct. Someone on TikTok named Anike. I'm saying this. I know who you are, but the people on YouTube might not. But the point is, Anike over on TikTok said that we may be getting through to the believers. It's possible. It is very possible. It takes me a while to actually get someone to come up and actually talk about this kind of stuff. I think they may be catching on. Heady Artist says, I was thinking of a different quote. Oh, okay. Aaron says, the Holy Gourd of Jerusalem from the life of Brian. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember. Say what? Manny, you there? Manny? Oh. Manny 31. You're off the app at the moment. Oh, Luplo said that was not to put up the board. Nah, I don't think that it's really doing that terribly much. And in fact, I like the joke. For the most part, we'll keep it up there and stuff like that. But I think it's fine. Check your text turn. Oh, what happened? What happened? What? Oh, okay, I'll deal with that. Oh. My daughter sent me something from Duolingo. Yeah, I'll I will deal with it. As far as Manny 31 goes, Manny, you're still here. Are you still here, Manny, or you just jumped down on the thing? I don't even know if Manny's here. Does anybody see Manny? He wanted Manny 30, but it was taken. No, I just figured he's a big fan of Reggie Miller. I don't think he's here. I see him teacup. Yeah. Well, Manny, you got to come back on the live. I think he probably didn't know what was going on and just closed out of it really fast. All right. Matthew Milkeen, $2 says Galadriel, not Gadriel, for fuck's sake. Galadriel? I don't know. I J.R.L. Tolkien was little too advanced for my young mind. I want to hear more about him jumping down on the thing. How's my Duolingo going? Pretty good. $5 from Elopnup says, I had 2 Mormons show up at my door. My wife told them to run. That checks out. J.R.L. Tolkien? J.R.R. Tolkien? Galadriel. I'm sorry, I don't know a lot about Lord of the Rings. I had friends as a kid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyways. Oh, God. Are you happy you make Christian babies cry? What? I don't even know what that means. Precious. You were homeschooled. Your only friend was your mom. That's funny. I've never seen Lord of the Rings. I saw them. I saw them in theaters. No, I saw the second one and the third one in theaters. Yeah. Holding out for a hero. Yeah. What the fuck? Uninvited to the watch party. I'm pretty sure I just pissed off like a good number of people. Oh, it's funny. Yeah. All 3 Lord of the Rings movies could have been summed up in a 30-minute freaking special. A Christmas special. Yeah, I mean, greatest trilogy of all time. Yeah, unless you consider the first 3 Toy Stories to be a trilogy. That's all I'm saying. They are not. Okay. I'm not calling you daddy anymore, daddy. What? Watch Housewives. Yeah, that checks out. The Jesus story is the biggest scam ever. Oh, well, yeah, I'd say so. I would say so. There's only one trilogy and one return. And it ain't of the king, it's of the Jedi. It's funny. Mazakine, they're on Super Chat. $5 says, I haven't been able to be here most of the day, but hashtag weep for Christ. My God. Gonna drive a man to drinking. All right. I see that too, Lady Huggy. I'm not gonna read it, but I see it. All right. 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 Really quick. Really quick. To everybody who is currently talking about Argentina and Egypt in the chat, shut the fuck up. I do not care. I understand that. I am talking to Hanji. I am talking to Pixies. I didn't see the comment from Jake. I don't care. I understand that you guys care. I don't give a fuck. I don't care about it. That's not what we talk about here. If you guys want to talk about that in your DMs, you can go talk in your DMs. Do not have any more conversations on here or both of you are getting blocked. I don't care. I really don't. Argentina is a country that has, I think they've got, is it them that has that crazy leader guy? But America has a crazy leader guy too. I fucking hate that guy. I fucking hate the Argentinian guy. I think he's Argentinian. I'm pretty sure he is. The guy with the crazy hair. The guy, I think his last name starts with an M or something like that. It's either that or I don't think it's Peru. But the point is, I don't care about them. Messi, if he said racist shit, I don't know, and I don't like racist shit. If he's a Zionist, I don't know, but I don't like Zionists. I don't like that. I don't like Zionism. I don't like racism. I don't like it. It's denounced. This is not the place to be having these conversations. If I see any more things about Argentina or about Egypt or FIFA or Messi or anything like that, if it's not about further matches in the World Cup, it's going to get blocked. That is an instant block. Don't give a shit. Could not give a shit. If you want to talk about that topic somewhere else, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to denounce racism, and I'm glad that people are against it. But we're not going to be talking about that anymore. This place has no room for Zionists and no room for racism. That's why if Messi said that shit, he's not going to be coming up on this live. If Messi requests up, I will not bring him up if he is a racist. I haven't looked into it myself. I apologize for not looking into it, but I didn't care about Messi before this World Cup at all. So I apologize. And I understand that there was a lot of shit that was going on at that at the World Cup there. I did see the video with iShow Speed. That was pretty messed up. Those Argentinian fans were saying some things like they use the term negro, which means black. I think that they also possibly use the term for monkey as well, which is terrible. That's awful. Those pieces of shit. If they request up on this live, they will not be brought up. I don't think that Pixie is racist. I don't think she hasn't said anything to me that's been racist, and she supported me. I'm black. She hasn't said anything racist to me. She sent me a can of chili, if it's lawful to call it chili, because it was from Skyline. If you're racist, get the fuck out of here. If you're Zionist, get the fuck out of here. All right. And if I personally see it, yeah, you're definitely gone. All right. I'm not Hispanic. I get people hanging on my teeth. Yep, perfectly fine. But we're not talking about it anymore. We're moving on. We are moving on. If I see racism, you're gone. And you know what? Other mods, if you see racism, they're gone. That easy. That easy. It has no place here. All right. But that being said, Hi Norge! Yeah! I gotta find somebody to pull for now that the U.S. unceremoniously got kicked out. Because our goalie doesn't know how to kick the fucking ball. Anyways, we're not. I don't know what's going on. All right. Yeah. We brought him back. We got like the red card suspended for just like a little bit of time. Just to come back and get our shit pushed in the next game. Oh, it was terrible. Okay. Let's see. $2 there from Kedrazak says, got him. $2 from Elope Nope says, the board is now Queef board. I go to the corner. Yes. Elope Nope, I didn't even know that you were in on this stupid thing. Elope Nope, how could you? $4.99 from Tracy, formerly Yantu. Can you do a live queef for queef's sake? Queef, 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 queef. Oh my god. All right, that's 6 of them. All right, it's absolutely getting banned after this. Absolutely, absolutely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, like, what is... It's 113 times, guys. You guys are animals. All right. No, I'm not even reading the ones that are over there. Now this is a football live. Yeah, well, we can do a restart there on TikTok if we want. We can do a restart on TikTok if we want. But it just kind of depends. Are you part Norwegian? No. Well, kinda, but it would be so far back that no. Like, I can't claim to be Norwegian, really. Not really. I only have, like somewhere around, like, 3 or 4% or something over in, like, the South Norway kind of area. It's not enough to really claim that. Not really. And I've never been over there, so... No. God damn it. The prototype 1619, $1.99 queef. People are liking the comment, too. Like, why are you doing that? Huh. All right. As soon as I turn around, $2. Sino the Pudre. We had a good run. Christian's queefing around here. Animals. Absolute animals. Okay. $1.99 Tracy formulating onto you needed a larger whiteboard queef. All right. Jesus Christ. Okay. It is your fault. It's absolutely your fault. We're going to have to do like some kind of a restart or something like that. Either that or we're just going to go ahead and just stop the live here. Jesus and Paul are alive now and are judging us as we live now. I've never heard that before. You can come up and talk about it. Please, for the love of all that is fucking holy, come up here so we don't talk about a Q word. We don't talk about FIFA. We don't talk about Messi. I don't give a shit about all three of those things. Only one of those is potentially not racist, though. I assume the Q word is not racist, but please come up and talk about whatever the hell you just said, because it sounded interesting. For kid, I guess $5. Soccer is a trash sport anyways. Let's talk about Hexas religion list and how Mormons aren't Christian. The way to fix soccer is to there's too many men on the field. So already go ahead and just remove them down. Maybe 5 people running around and then a goalie on each team. And then go ahead and just reduce the size of the field. It's way too big. Move the ball. Let's make it like something small and hard, and then give everybody a stick, and then turn the grass into ice. There we go. That is how you fix soccer. Anyways, 10 rand. I think that's the rand. Or no, that's the real or whatever. The real, 10 real and 90 parts of a real. From Leon Berg says, for Erling Haaland, okay, Brazil reais 10 and 9 centavos. Okay. 10 and 9 centavos. Brazil reals. Huh. Okay, that's what that means. Okay. I understand it now. Thank you. Thank you. Corey says, I like small and hard. I don't even know what button to push for that. Yeah, that one. Yeah, we'll just push that one. We'll keep offsides. yeah, keep offsides. Make a bunch of lines. Bunch more lines. There need to be more lines. I did legitimately stop playing soccer for hockey back in the day. Oh, nice. I wish demolishing theism was a competitive sport. You know where the button is. I don't know what button you wanted me to push.
Boom, roasted.
Oh. That one.
You done messed up, Aaron!
Okay. Anyways. I don't have that sound. The closest I have is... or... Closest I got. $5 there from Matthew Milking. You missed $2 my super chat about me saying my name correctly. Now I have to pay $5. What? I did? Where? Oh, it was right before Matthew. Oh, my bad. $2 there from Matthew Mulkeen says, at least you always pronounce my last name. Mulkeen. What else would it be? Matthew Mulkeen. How else would it be pronounced? Is no one in the queue? Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. No one is. I'm thinking about just go ahead and just stopping for today. Should we go ahead and stop for today and just gear up for tomorrow? I think that's what we need to do. We need to get some rest. We need to just gear up for tomorrow. A restart? What? No restart? No, it's pronounced Brit. That's funny. All right, one person says just gear up for tomorrow. They're kind of bitter today. I'm bitter? What's tomorrow? More Christians. More meat. Restart for Norway. Restart from Heady Artist. More food tomorrow. People say Mulkin or Mulkern. No, it's definitely Mulkeen. Matthew Mulkeen. Yeah. $2 there from Matthew Mulkeen. Thank you very much. Restart for man meat. I'll do it for man meat. I'll do it for man meat. All right. So we are now back. No, I'm not blocking anybody. No, just I'm not blocking anybody. Just it's not the topic of the live. All right, $10 there from Polenta Forest says, any real people in the New Testament? Any real people? Yeah, there's real people. There's like Pilate. There's Herod the Great, Caesar Augustus. There are definitely real people. Most of them are going to be people who are going to be like your leaders and stuff like that, who have a lot of more evidence for them existing and stuff like that, and it's pretty clear. But not only that, but they are people who help kind of give the reader a time to be thinking of, is the thing. Like everybody. Oh yeah, I did see that. Bonnie Tyler passed away. Yeah, that's the person who sang Total Eclipse of the Heart. Yeah, I saw that. It's kind of sad there. I don't know how old she was, but I did see that it did happen there. But $1.99 there from AZ Dude. We all know who the AZ Dude is. But yes, as far as real people go in the New Testament, yeah, there are some people, but they just kind of set the stage. Kind of like Obama sets the stage for that one scene for Peter Parker, and then like there's like stuff that happens with like Mustache Man in World War II, and there's stuff that happens with like 9/11 and stuff like that in different comics. And so we know when this comic is set in because certain leaders are mentioned, certain real things are mentioned. And just like that, we're back. Yes, we are. I have. We are back. We are back. We have restarted there on TikTok. Hopefully, we can get someone in here to give us some evidence for Jesus or Paul. Hopefully. Oh my God! I did miss another one here. I was so busy reading the other one that that I missed. $1.99 from Cool Cat McFat that said that sounded like a oh Jesus, Queef Wellington. That doesn't even sound good at all. Jesus Christ. Ugh. All right. Didn't you just say you're logging off? I restarted. People said to restart. So I'm up here. Leave it to the person from Elizabeth from the UK, Elizabeth Heretics, there to talk about beef Wellingtons. It's what's for dinner. Man Meat deserved the restart. Yeah, he did. He did. And hopefully we can get somebody to come in. Hopefully. And provide us with some evidence for Jesus or Paul. Hopefully. We might have somebody to give us some evidence for Jesus or Paul.
Hello?
This is some guy. What's going on, some guy?
Yeah, it's me. What's up, man? How's it going?
Doing good, doing good. What you got for us?
So I've watched your lives a couple times, a lot of times. So when you say, that Jesus never existed, and you say that Marcion was the first gospel, right? Or is that wrong?
Yeah.
So
Marcion's
wait,
gospel was the first gospel. Yeah.
okay, so where does he come up with the story of Jesus? Or is he the one who comes up with the story of Jesus?
I mean, as best we have, yeah. I mean, we don't have any story of Jesus prior to this. We have the pieces that kind of go into the gospel, if you will. But I guess you could say that he's the kind of the first one who sort of kind of puts it all together. I guess you could say that. It's possible that maybe he and his local church had talked about it for some time, a little bit prior to that, but. The times that we have the Christians mentioned prior to this, and including someone who was writing from his home province, which is Pliny the Younger, who was the governor of Marcion's home province. In 111, we don't have any mention of Jesus. We have mention of Christians, just not Jesus. So I would say that sometime within the 20 years after 111, or 20 to 30 years there, we get sometime in there, we get the story of Jesus like finally like put together or talked about and then wrote down. And it could have been Marcion just writing it just all together, or his students or whatever, and coming up with it as they wrote it. It's possible. It could be that somebody talked about it a little bit before then. Just kind of depends.
So you're saying that it pretty much it was created by, like, that whole story was basically created by him or his people.
It could have been swirling around a little bit before him, but not for very much. We don't have any evidence of it going that far back. Sometime in the a couple centuries prior to 144, maybe, or a couple decades prior to 144, maybe, but we don't have any evidence of that.
So then so if you don't have evidence for
as
that,
Elizabeth Heretics there says on TikTok, it's also not very original. Like, not really. It's taken from a lot of different stuff, so it's not really that hard to come up with something like that.
Marcion's version of the gospel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where does he pull stuff from? Like, so
I mean, he's still pulling things from like Josephus and shit like that, like Wars of the Jews and certain texts like that. Book of Elkasai. Like, there's Septuagint. Like, he's still pulling from different things.
Okay, and so I tried to kind of look into the original, like his original gospel, and I'm kind of having trouble like finding, I guess, from what I found, it seems like they keep saying that it's lost, but then there is like a whole story, starting with him coming down to Capernaum and then ending with him healing.
Yeah, it's lost in the sense that we don't have a complete text of something that we know exactly from that. We do have some things from the Gospel of Luke, which uses Evangeline to make the Gospel of Luke, and so some of these things could have been Marcion, but we just don't know for sure. We also have reconstructions of Marcion, what he had and everything in his Gospel, or pretty close to what we had, at least the general gist of it, because later Christians talked a lot of shit about him and quoted it.
Yeah, like
Tertullian, Origen, and Irenaeus. Yeah.
Gotcha. So how do they know what his original like text said when they don't have it? That's the part I don't understand, like where they're pulling that from.
Who is pulling from?
Like where, like Tertullian or whatever.
Because they do have it. They have
so they do have the original text.
Yeah,
for him.
Maybe not the original per se, but they have a text, and they're saying what's in it.
But then, so they allegedly they're saying that, but then there's other like
why else would they be
scholars
talking about it? And like Tertullian saying I'm going verse by verse. Like, what do you mean allegedly?
Because
like,
others
what
are
are
saying
they gonna do?
Because others are saying that he's pulling from like previous gospels, like Luke. They're saying that he's the one who's like taking other gospels and making his own. There's other people who are saying that. So how do you defend that? Like, what's your proof for that? What's your evidence for that?
Evidence of what? You didn't ask anything.
That they're pulling from his original text when we don't have it.
What the fuck are you talking about? Are you talking about the Gospels, or are you talking about Origen, Tertullian, and Irenaeus? What are you talking about? Who is pulling?
I'm trying to figure out like.
Well, you've kind of conflated two different concepts. Be very specific in what you're asking. What are you asking me for?
So I'm trying to understand where they have the original from.
What original?
Gospel.
Of
the
what?
The original gospel.
Like the first gospel?
Yeah. Because you say it's from Marcion, but others are saying it's not. So I'm trying to figure out where that original is coming from.
All we have to do is we have to take a look at the text itself that they say is the original and that Marcion uses, which is the Gospel of Luke, and see if it comes out first. See if it's a different author or see if it's all one author. If he used a gospel that was already written, then Luke would all be the same style. It would like all of it would come up as one author, and he just like pulled pieces from it. Because if you write a book and then I quote the book, like the bulk of your book or whatever, in like a blog or something like that, and somebody took a look at the style of that quote, it wouldn't come up as me, would it? It would come up as you, right? So it doesn't matter if I pull pieces out of your book. If they take a look at your book, it's all going to come up as one author as well as what I pulled from it.
Okay.
But unfortunately, what we see when we take a look at the Gospel of Luke is that the roughly chapters 4 through 22 are a different author, which indicates that Luke must have used some other material. And then we take a look to see, okay, what did Irenaeus, Tertullian, and Origen say was in Marcion's Evangelion? Oh, would you look at that? It's the same material.
Yeah, I think they're aware that there are multiple authors, or they pull like different stuff, right? I don't think
I
the
don't even
claim
know
is
what
that
you're
all of
saying
it
now.
is. So, okay, so I understand what you're saying about Luke, right? That it's um, pulling from.
Yeah, and
It
that's
has
what they
multiple
say
authors
that Marcion pulls from. That's what they claim.
that Marcion pulls
Pulled
from
from Luke.
Luke.
That's what they say, yes.
But you don't agree with that because you say
Because it
Marcion's
didn't
first.
happen. Yes, it is.
Right. So how do you know that when
That's
you
what I
don't
just
have the original?
explained. I just explained it.
But what I'm saying, I understand what you said, but
Okay, then you wouldn't ask that question.
right. Okay, so I'm going to clarify it. So if you're saying that you analyze the text of Luke and you found different authors, then you also
And
have
one
to
of those
analyze
authors is the
Marcion's
same
gospel,
material.
Evangelion,
No,
and say that it has to be one author. Where are you finding
no,
that? What do you mean no? Like how are you
that wouldn't make
able
any
to
sense.
look? How are you able to say that Marcion's gospel has one author when you can't analyze it?
Because the exact same people who are saying that he took from Luke are saying that his information is the same information that's in Luke. So I don't know where you're.
My question is,
I do not
how
have
are
to
you
have
able to
Marcion in
analyze
order.
Marcion's text?
Because of the reconstructions of it, or because of what they say.
But there's no point in analyzing a reconstruction when you can't.
Okay, when you say analyze, do you mean like through stellometry?
Yeah.
No.
Right. That's what
I don't
you
need.
use, right?
I do not. We do not need to use stellometry on Marcion's text in order to know what it had in it.
Okay, can you explain that? How?
Because of Origen, Tertullian, Irenaeus. I don't know how this is so hard for you to comprehend.
Okay, well, because I haven't studied this for as long as you have. That's why. So
Well, I've explained it multiple times in a way that even a 5-year-old would understand, and it seems like you keep tripping over your feet again. It's really weird. Like we have an understanding of the material that is in it because 3 different people talk about what was in it. Then
trust what they say.
listen. There wouldn't be any reason for them to say something else that doesn't make any sense. Not to mention, if we use that information to find out that they're lying, then what does that benefit them? Like the lie is the idea that Luke came first. That's the lie. There's no benefit in them saying that Marcion wrote what is in Luke. Like what would that
prove that they're lying? Because you're saying because they have multiple authors. You're saying it's not authentic because of that. Right? All right, don't get frustrated. I'm just asking a question.
You've asked this question before, and I've already answered it multiple times.
Okay. So you think like because Origen and Tertullian they say that this text is being pulled from Marcion, they have no reason to lie about it.
That's not what they say. You want to try harder?
Yeah, let me think about it. I'll come back. Appreciate it.
Try thinking just in general.
Okay.
That might be a good idea.
Appreciate it.
All right. Yeah, was that person just some friend of like GE or something? The fuck was that all about? Jesus. All right, Colin Cosmos.
Hey there.
Hey, what you got, man?
Yeah, that was it was kind of hard to follow up in, I joined probably about 10 minutes ago, and it seems like he had a lot of good, references to things that, he was trying to use to help understand where the conversation was there, but
He had good references? What references did he use?
just names, dates, like Marciano. I was like, oh fuck, I haven't heard that in 10 years. You guys were really going at it, and you were trying. I just saw the live, and I was like, Jesus, Paul never existed. Prove us wrong. And I'm not here to prove you wrong, actually. I'm just saying I kind of believe they're archetypes, and I definitely believe they're writing about somebody. I call that person Yeshua. Like, there was all kinds of avatars, and
Why?
It started out, I was looking into Masonry and Gnosticism.
Oh, why do you call him Yeshua?
That's the best translation that we got.
Of the Greek?
Of the Greek, yeah, from like
The
Hebrew
Greek
to
is
Greek to
Isu.
English.
The New Testament isn't written in Hebrew.
Well, Yeshua was written after like Joshua, who supposedly is supposed to be his name.
Okay, well, it doesn't say Yeshua in the New Testament.
Morris Bible or something. No, it doesn't. Well, yeah, I've got a Geneva sitting right here. I've been looking for that name too. And then why do people say "Ase"? Where does that come from? Anyways, I think they were writing about somebody, and whether it's an archetype or not, I'm pretty sure the Rosicrucians or Order of the Rosy Cross or Golden Circle has something to do with it, but I think it's a lot more than any of us are going to be able to really get an answer on. I mean,
not really.
Blind faith is one
New
thing.
Testament is talking about somebody who is contradicted by other parts of the New Testament. So, I mean, the way that the New Testament presents Jesus is just not accurate. You'd have to carve out a Jesus that you think is the real person who they're talking about. And at that point, it's not really a Jesus anymore.
Right. And that's like a lot of your Hallmark churches are more of like the Gospel of Paul. Like, they more follow his way of teaching, I guess you should say. Yeah, it's weird. It's I don't know, man. But the Jesus we think we know, especially here in America, definitely no. That he didn't. I've had my own spiritual experiences in the world, and I've seen some things that make me believe in God, and I think that's where it needs to stop. Like, yeah, I'm convinced. I've ran it through. I've gone down the rabbit hole and back. I'm 31 years old. But as far as the Luke and Paul and Matthew, Mark, and Matthew, Mark, Luke, and Daquan, that's a joke with my friend. The Moors, the Moroni, this religion is just so full of fucking shit now. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Sorry. I don't know. It's hearsay. I think everybody's spiritual experience should be personal. I do think the Bible teaches us a lot about these archetypes and about these aspects of ourselves. There is definitely like a divinity within us, and right now, unfortunately, the ones that are using it and the ones that know most about it are not doing it for well. But Jesus, or whoever he was, I'd say the same thing. I'm like, you don't need none of that bomba clot. Just believe in grace, believe in love. You don't need to be doing no fucking magics. So whoever the hell he was, he had a good message, and that's what I try to believe in. I've had a UFO experience. I've had an angel experience. I chalk that shit up to drugs. It's fucking whatever, man. So, but yeah. Anyways, that's the end of my spiel. Sorry, guys.
What?
Yeah, that tends to happen. Luke and they existed, but not as. I mean, just like Shiva, just like Krishna and other fucking avatars that have been here. He ain't the only one. Sure, he might have been the one that come through and save us all from eternal. What the fuck does that even mean, eternal, dude? So if Jesus and Paul didn't exist, who were they talking about?
Fictional characters?
Were they talking about how we make comic book heroes and superheroes? Like, is he their version of a superhero?
Yes.
All right. I can vibe with that. Have you ever heard of a topa? No, it's called a topa. I just finally looked at the comments. Y'all a bunch of assholes. Thank you. So then the same goes for all the other religions. They're
Yep.
all superheroes. All right. That's why I fucking joined, dude, because that's where I'm fucked up with. Because, I mean, I believe that too, but I've experienced something. Like, there's definitely fucking something here. Like, there's billions of people in the world, and we all have our own little stories, but, it feels like I'm just taking baby steps again, because I grew up a hardcore Christian in the church and all that, and I really took a step back these last 6 years or so, and
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as different beliefs go, there's plenty of them out there, but I think I think a lot of these things are just people cashing in on the gullibility of human beings.
yeah. And everybody, it started a couple years ago, was obsessed with the whole, oh, they're doing satanic rituals in Hollywood, and yeah, that goes back to the fucking pedophile thing. That's absolutely wrong, but like, I feel like they're creating that to make us believe. And
Who is
one
they?
of the weirdest things I've heard, that fucking Hollywood MK Ultra people, those guys, they're creating this.
Yeah, right. Only so much of that I can take. All right. Let's see. We've got $2 there from Chaos Engine 89 says, You a fan of queef stews? Yorkshire queef queefum. Oh my god, that's 3 of them. There we go. 1, 2, 3. And we go ahead and zero that one. Bruno, it's ridiculous. Christina the Godless, $5 says, "Hear me out. Did Adam have a navel and other heretic trash? A podcast brought to you by the brilliant minds behind Christ Before Jesus and Girls Gone Godless." God damn it. That's that's solid. That's solid. It's solid. Can't do much on that one. $2 there from Elope Nope. I will send that over to Matthew, by the way. $2 there from Elope Nope says, "He's doing this to punish us for the queefs." TKEG said that. A little bit of punishment. Just a little bit. Light punishment. Okay. Colin Cosmos on TikTok says, "Okay, puss out then." Okay. Well, there you go. Oh my gosh. Punish me. I will.
You done messed up, Aaron!
All right. Well, and with that, thank you anybody and everybody who stuck around longer than 30 seconds. 35-second gang. Rise up. I will see you guys tomorrow. I need to reset my brain after most of the guests today. That was fun. As someone mentioned earlier, they were like, whenever Jaren has this hat on, he is spicy Jaren. Maybe it's true. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just that like with this hat in specific, it kind of pulls in certain guests. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But it is rough. It is rough. See tonight, Dad. Yeah, well, hopefully you going live there, Adam, later on. Hopefully I can swing by and see you guys there. White hat is always a rod ride. Yeah, I think so, Jake. I think so. Again, want to reiterate there into the chat that I denounce all forms of bigotry, racism, Zionism, that kind of thing. I'm definitely going to denounce that. I am not a fan of those things. You definitely shouldn't be either. If I see that you are a fan of those things, you're gone. But, look, America has done some pretty bad things, especially here recently. I'm still proud to be an American. I'm proud to be an American, not because of those things, but because of, where I'm from. And the thing about being an American, in my opinion, is what patriotism is loving the people of the country, not necessarily the actions of the country. It's loving the land itself. I like this place. I'm a homer, if you will. But that being said, I do like Texas. I do like America, and I'd like to make it better. And I'm trying to make the world a better place. I also like the planet. I'm not a huge fan of what the planet does, but I'm kind of a big fan of living here. That's how that works. You just kind of, you want to make it better. You want to make it better. That's the idea. That is the idea. I love America, just don't like it right now. I love it. I'm just not in love with it, if that makes sense. What did the planet do? Well, the planet just kind of sucks. Yeah. I think that's what it is, As Dr. Jim says there, I have love for our country and want it to be better. I don't want to live anywhere else. I don't want to live anywhere else outside of America or outside of Texas. I don't even want to live outside of Texas. I don't even live outside my fucking county. I'll talk trash about other places in Texas. But still, I don't know. I think the main thing is, if you support a country because you're from there, you support a team because that team is just who you like or whatever. I don't know the politics of Holland. I have no idea. Do I even want to know? Probably not. But I don't know. I don't know them. And me saying, "Oh yeah, hi Norge," that doesn't mean that I'm supporting anything that Norway is doing. In fact, I'm pretty sure wasn't it the King of Norway or something that was wrapped up in a lot of the shit there with the Epstein shit? Wasn't he wrapped up in that? Wasn't he wrapped up in that? Pretty sure he was. Wasn't he? Was it the King of Norway or something like that? Yeah, he was. The King of Norway. No. No, right? It wasn't the king? It's like somebody else. It was the prince, one of the princes in Norway there. No, it wasn't. Prince? Somebody over there, I'm pretty sure. When he wrapped up in all that kind of stuff. Let's talk about PDF Muhammad, please, people. Oh, I don't know who that is. Let me see. Let me see here. Who is that? Oh, the Crown Princess of Norway. She was wrapped up in all that stuff? Yikes. Yikes. All I'm saying... Yeah, princess. All I'm saying is that, like, very clearly, there are shitty people in a lot of different positions. Usually, the richer someone is, the more out of touch with humanity they are, and they start acting stupid. That's just kind of how it works. But in this particular case here, with all these different accusations and everything of what's going on there with Argentina and anti-Egypt stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, I'm sure at least some of it is true. But supporting a team, supporting a country, caring about where you're from, that kind of thing, that doesn't necessarily mean that you agree with all the stuff. It doesn't. And if I see that somebody agrees with the stuff, the bad stuff in the country, then you're gone. You're gone. It's that easy. It's that easy. I've already issued warnings over to, you already know, so I'm not going to say your name again, but the guy who was talking about or sharing some stuff that was kind of, it was borderline supporting some stuff over in, like Israel-Palestine conflict, that kind of stuff. They're in the Discord. So I just don't want to block anybody. That's not the point. It's just a matter of, I will if I need to. We're trying to make this a safe space for everybody. So yeah, that's what it's like. So I support England for the black players. Well, I don't know if I've seen any games with England quite yet. I will on Saturday. On Saturday, I'm going to go watch the Norway-England game. David says, hey, I live in the United States and I'm not racist. This is good. It's good. A safe space, yes, you shit on Catholics and Christians. I shit on Catholics? And Christian, I don't shit on anybody's religion per se. I shit on whether or not someone believes in something that is untrue. I'm not just sitting up here being like, oh, hey, you shouldn't be that religion. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying, hey, if you believe in something that is demonstrably false, you should probably stop believing in that. Or if you're believing in something that doesn't have any evidence, you should at least set it aside and wait till evidence goes either way. I'm not shitting on a religion. That's not how that works. 2 Catholics, 1 cup. Jesus Christ. Or Orange, you tired of him, said it best. He doesn't shit on it. History does. I don't need to say anything bad about it. History just does it for me. That's kind of how that works. Believe in something that's true and you'll be good. Jaren shits on moms. Oh my God, I'm not into that kind of stuff. Let's see. And we're back. How many did I miss? No, not very many. All right. Let's see. And then $2 there from a Lope Nope on Super Chat says, you, a data scientist research. I'm not even really sure what I'm supposed to mean. All right. I will. Oh, yeah, I do have that sound.
That's why you ran away. You shit in your sombrero. You shit in it. Take it off your head. Shitty head. Poop head.
That's a sound that I kept. I don't know why. There are 2 people who are requesting up. Let's see if I can do like a speed run or something like that. And thank you, Lady Huggy, for giving me that. The Archangel, what's up? What you got? Real quick.
It's good to be back. Yeah, okay, man. So, no, I get what you're saying about not shitting on religion, but I do propose this. If Christianity is not meant to be taken as true, then what moral should we follow?
Adonatology. Next. Let's see. That was so dumb. Like it's only Christianity or no other moral system. That's so stupid. Pajine Adam Solomon official.
Hey, my brother, how you doing? How you doing?
All right, doing good. What you got, man?
Yeah, good. Appreciate the comment that you made on the match, Argentina versus Egypt. It was really unfair. I have a lot of complaint. Not only Egyptians, a lot of complaint. People
So
talking
we're not
about it.
talking about the match. Like I just mentioned it earlier because somebody was people were talking back and forth about it and everything, all the different implications. But we're not continuing on the conversation about it. But that being said, do you have anything for Jesus or Paul?
Okay, all right, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, you said Jesus and Paul, they never exist, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm not gonna be debating about whether they will exist or not in the sense of the how the wrote about it in the Bible. However, let's say Jesus, I think he was exist because of our era. Let's say, before Jesus, they like, try they counted from up to down.
You're talking about the calendar?
Exactly.
Do you think that
So
people were counting down prior to Jesus living?
yeah, they counted from top to the bottom before Jesus, but with the Jesus era, they started from the first to up gradually. So that's a
Wait, do you
proof
think
of.
that people like Moses was saying I am alive in 3000 BC? You think that he would say something like that?
No. That's something else. That's something else because this books, they just like compilation of people that's wrote, and they just put them together, combine them, and choose Moses. They say Moses wrote them, but it's not really true, because there's another history behind it. But for the Jesus existence, I think, not 100% because I cannot prove that, but I think with a good faith that Jesus was exist. Maybe not the way that they explain it, but Jesus was exist. He existed. I don't know for Paul. I don't know for Paul. I cannot really talking about Paul, but for Jesus, he was exist. Maybe he was a black man. Maybe he did something that they ignored, but for me, it was exist. He existed. Jesus existed.
Do you have any evidence for it?
That's the point. I cannot. I will not there, and we just like when I see how things are like thing or manipulated, and they try to put Jesus in the frame, and I think people using that.
What is happening? Thank you to anybody and everybody who's stuck around longer than 30 seconds. 35-second gang, rise up. Peace out, Girl Scout. Bump me down for some thin minutes. Over there on YouTube, thanks for hanging out with me, obviously. Thank you for the super chats. You've been you, and you've